Goes back to, I guess, when I entered this world. At the core of it, like we're giving you as choreographers the skeleton of movement. It's basically the Olympics of hip hop dance. Please let me be on this playlist, please. And then Asia was the other choreographer on that one too. So I was like, we do to like still maintain the integrity of the movement while still making it fun and accessible. And get those heart Easter eggs.
Oh, we're striking a deal. Okay, we're gonna make some magic happen.
Gangnam Style. And I know it had been mapped like if we had it in the library, but I was like, this is such an iconic dance. Think of hopping into Supernatural, like I want to move, I want to dance.
Truth. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of For the Love of the Map, where we talk all things supernatural, choreography, and the joy in movement. I'm your host, MJ, and today I'm so excited to introduce everyone to supernatural choreographer, Jayar Rodriguez.
Hello! Hi, world! Insert crowd cheering in the back.
You already given me editing notes, I see.
That's never how this episode is going to go. Yay! I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I first have to mention how perfect your headphones and microphone are for this show. We are all about cats, so
Yes, we are. I'm actually very much a dog person,
yeah,
really, but I mean, these headphones were just too cute to
they're way too
not have. Yeah. Fun fact about these, actually, Asia has the same headphones in, I think, the pink versions. So we're always the two with the fun earphones in like our meetings and stuff. So yeah.
That's me and my friend Julia. We have an assorted pair of cat ear headbands that we wear when we record side by sides of Supernatural.
Cute. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yep. Matches our outfit. We have a bunch of different colors. So there's a little Easter egg there. You had no idea we had an affinity for cats. So it's just perfect. Serendipitous that you
love
wore
it.
that today.
I love to see it.
So let's just get right into it, dude. Who are you? Because you are a mystery to the whole supernatural community. Tell us about yourself.
Oof, that's a good one to start off on. Like,
Giant question.
do I even know myself? I mean, I guess I'll start off with the fun fact maybe. So my name is JR, but my name is actually not JR. So I am named after my dad, Edgardo.
Oh,
So that makes him the senior, and I'm the junior.
yeah.
So
That.
growing up, my family called me JR. It's also a very like typical like Filipino nickname that's given to a lot of the juniors or just anyone with the initials. So yeah, all my life I've been called JR by my family and my friends. But the one thing that I remember every single like birthday, holiday, gift, or whatever, no one knew how to spell JR. I didn't even know what JR was. They would do capital J, capital R. They would go J dot R dot. Capital J, lowercase r, J dash R, JAY dash R, even RJ. To go as far as that too.
Oh, wow.
So I was just like, I think by the time that I hit middle school, I was over it. I was like, I want to, I'm going to set it straight. Like, here's how I'm going to spell my name, JAYAR, because I thought it looked cool. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to go with. That's how it is. Everyone do it, you know? But unfortunately, up until this day, many, many years later, people still are getting RJ out of out of it. It's like
Gotta admit.
I literally spelled it out for you. But yeah, I that's who I am. I think my name is JR. I'm one of the supernatural choreographers, and yeah, I love dance. Dance is literally my life. Um, and yeah, that's a big reason as to why I'm here choreographing for Supernatural now.
That's incredible. I have a confession to make.
Hmm.
I have been following you on Instagram for almost 2 years, a little, almost 2 years. And so I have seen so many cool things about you and your dancing. Like when you say dance is your life, I feel that because it really is. You are so involved and you're like super busy, dude. You do so many things. You make me exhausted watching your stories.
I get exhausted watching my own life.
So tell us, have you always been a dancer? When did dance become a thing, a passion for you?
So, I mean, that kind of goes back to, I guess, when I entered this world, if you will. So, in my family, it's my parents, and then I have three older sisters. They're all a generation ahead of me. Like, the youngest out of them three is 8 years apart from me. So, by the time I came into the world, like baby of the family, you know. Um, but like growing up, my parents threw all of my sisters into like performing arts from a very young age. Like they did hula, and like when they were in like middle school, they all did drill team, and like military, and then they got into high school. They did like went into flag twirling, and then school musicals, and you know like singing, dancing, all the way. It's always been just a huge part of like our family. And like my parents also like they love music, and like my dad plays guitar, my mom sings. Like it's just the performing arts has always been like around in the family.
Okay.
So you know, by the time I came into the world, I basically spent a lot of my childhood growing up watching like my sisters perform and like my family just jamming out together, and I was like, man, I want to do that too. So yeah, in a sense, like I just literally tried to mimic everything that my sisters were doing. Like if
Yeah.
they were gonna do drill team, I would try to learn their routines. If they were gonna twirl flags, I wanted to twirl flags too. If they were gonna sing
Right.
and dance, I wanted to sing and dance as well too. You know,
Right.
so they really kind of also like they're also really good at what they did. They were really well known like in our communities for just being like the Rodriguez siblings. You know, so they left a very big light, you know, to
Yeah.
shine on for me, and I just kind of wanted to follow in their footsteps because it's just like what I knew that they were good at, and also I wanted to be good at as well.
Right.
But I think being the only boy in the family, you know, they were like, yeah, maybe let's try like other hobbies for Jayar as he's growing up. So I actually I did martial arts first.
Ooh.
I did taekwondo for about 9 years,
Oh.
and I had a secondary black. I earned a secondary black belt in it.
Wow.
And then I also played piano for a really long time. I think 10 years about. Um, and then when I got to high school, I played volleyball.
Mm.
And then it wasn't actually until a lot of my high school friends started getting into dance. And like, mind you, at this point in my life, like when I was in high school, like one of my sisters was like really well known in the industry as like you know a choreographer. She was traveling the world teaching classes left and right. So
Hmm.
you know, like every now and then I would pop into a dance class just to, you know like support and stuff like that. So, but it was never at the forefront of my mind until a lot of my peers started doing it in high school.
Yeah.
So then once they started doing that, I was like, man, I want to do that too. So it was about I think my junior year of high school where I finally auditioned for my school's musicals. Now, mind you, obviously, like our music instructors and like everyone that was involved in the production of the school musicals, like they already had seen me like from a young age because I would
Hmm.
always go support my sister's shows. So they're like, "When's JR gonna come? When's he gonna audition?"
They've
And
been
then
waiting, waiting
they
for
have
you.
been waiting a very long time. So it was finally like my junior year. They're like, "We waited 2 years for you to finally like get on stage." But
Hmm.
at this point, like I still wasn't like comfortable like performing like in front of audiences so much. I still used to have like stage fright and kind of just like,
Yeah.
ooh, I don't know how to deal with it. Um, so yeah, school musicals were kind of like my first in back into like performing, and I just got the bug for it, and I wanted to continue doing it. So I remember my senior year, I quit volleyball so that I can um, focus more on like the school musicals, and then obviously getting into college. But then I saw that a couple of my friends actually had auditioned for, or they've been a part of a hip hop dance team, uh, a youth hip hop dance team called Future Shock Los Angeles. They're a nonprofit organization that's like involved with just like, hip hop education. They do like community service where they do outreach for dance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually, I was actually a part of that company when I was really young, maybe even elementary school, because one of my sisters was part of it as well too. But she unfortunately didn't get to finish the season when I came on because she wanted to focus on college. So my parents were like, "We don't like. I'd rather keep you guys together." So I never got to do the season with them.
Oh,
So then I thought it was a very full circle moment. We was like, you know what? I want to audition for this team. I want to come back and like finish what I started, so to
yeah.
speak. And yeah, I made the team with Future Shock Los Angeles. That's what I spent my entire senior year doing. I learned so much about just like dance and like, getting a really good foundation of so much training in different styles of hip hop specifically. Um, and then through that, I actually got a really awesome opportunity to do a dance intensive at UCLA. It
Oh.
was a week long intensive of, you know, I got a scholarship that was all paid for to, stay on campus. We were dancing from 9 to 5 every single day, getting ready for like a production at the end of the week. I got thrown into styles of dance that I've never touched before, and that's kind of like how I ended off my senior year. And I was like going into college, I was like, oh, I think I'm kind of serious about like pursuing dance. Like I feel great with it. I feel good. This is something that I want to do and continue growing in. So that was like just high school, 1 year of dance.
And then you found your passion. You found your calling.
Yeah, a lot of that kind of shaped in my collegiate journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually got into college as a computer science major,
Okay.
which I used to be very, very diligent in school and just, studying, getting good grades. And then I joined a competitive hip hop dance team on campus called CADC, which stood for Chinese Association Dance Crew. You didn't have to be Chinese to join, but it was kind of like the organization that had that team was a Chinese association on campus. So I spent 4 years performing, competing basically all throughout Southern California, like within our little hip hop community. Um, After my first year, I went on to leadership for them. So I
Oh.
was a part of their board of directors. We helped kind of like create basically what we were performing. I got to
Mm-hmm.
choreograph more, and then um, through that too, like the community at UC Irvine, where I went to school, was like there were dancers everywhere. There were so many teams, and we all had kind of just like so many opportunities to go and teach each other's teams and share with each other. So I got a lot of opportunities to develop my craft as a leader and a choreographer in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I finished out all 4 years with CADC, and then during that time was also when I got Disney. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been waiting for this
that's
part.
that's going to be a whole section, but just to very briefly get, at a higher level, like I auditioned on a whim, because like my teammates, some of them were dancing for Disney as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this would be a really great opportunity for you. Like, I think you'd be so good at it. Like, the style completely fits you. Um, yeah, so I was dancing at Disney and directing the team at the same time, trying to get through life with school.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, after I graduated, I was like, what's the next thing? Stayed with Disney, and I not found a company, but one of the companies that I looked up to during my entire collegiate career was this company called Maker Empire. And I just really admired like the artistry and their style of dance, and just so many people that I knew and looked up to were a part of that company, and I was like, this is this is the team that I want to be on. So,
This
and
is
I've
where you
been,
wanted to be.
and
Felt like
then
home.
it did feel very much like home. And now this is about to be my sixth season with them. I also evolved into a leadership position too, where I help now. I've been helping direct. I'm one of the company directors for our adult program, our adult competitive team, and then I also help out with our youth programs. So I help teach kids from age 9 to 18.
Oh, wow. So you,
Yes,
wow. So you
I
were a
know.
competitive
Let's take a
dancer.
deep breath.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to wrap my head around all this one. I want to make sure I got it right. You were a competitive dancer. You teach dance. You choreograph for your dance team. You work at Disney dancing. If I'm, am I right? You dance in mostly parades?
Yes, I am a parade
Okay.
performer at
You're a
Disneyland.
parade. Okay. So you're a parade performer and you're a supernatural choreographer.
Yes.
What else? Am I missing anything else?
A very stressed and just busy human being
Yeah.
that's just a big ball of energy at the same time. Again, I don't know how I've done it for so long, but yeah, those are all the little things that make me who I am.
Yeah. It gives you energy to stay
For sure.
busy and to be doing,
For sure.
the energy you put out, you get back. So it makes sense to me. I like to juggle a bunch of different things at once. So I get it. But for you, all of your activities are so strenuous. Like you are
Very.
working out for 16 something hours a day, dude. Like, do you realize that? I'm asking you, do you realize
I
that?
now I do now, if anything. I think I've had a little more time in my, you know, adult life to kind of process what kind of like rigorous schedule I've had for so long. But I think, that's just the way that I've been working for so long, Being in college, I was juggling school, I was juggling work, I was juggling rehearsals, I was juggling
Yeah.
more dance, trying to keep up with friends and family. And like, I think it's been so many years now where it's like that's just been the practice for me. It's like I kind of know how to unfortunately do it well.
Yeah.
Where it's like to the point where I just don't know what to do if I have free time anymore. I just sit
Yeah.
here, twiddle my thumbs, and
You're
like
like, what
I
do I
got to do
do?
something. I got to
Yeah.
do something.
Wow. So you're competitive dancing. Do you travel all through the United States now going to competitions or mostly California?
Mostly California, but I've had a few opportunities to compete on what could be like an international
Ooh.
scale. There is this dance competition called Hip Hop International, um,
Hmm.
or HHI for short. Yeah, they basically they host. It's basically the Olympics of hip hop dance. There's like little divisions where it can range from like different ages to the size of the groups. So in my collegiate career, when I was a part of CADC, I got a chance to compete with like a 8-man crew in the adult division. Um, to try to represent USA in the world finals of that. Um, yeah, so I had those are my first experiences with HHI, and then when I joined Maker Empire, we actually have been representing Team USA um, for the last couple of years in Hip Hop International. We've medaled, and been able to perform on like a world scale. Competing against companies from different countries across the world.
That is so impressive. That is beyond cool because you get to go and do those competitions. You get to come back and help teach the younger generations all the incredible things you've learned while
Oh, for sure.
living this experience. Wow, this is so amazing to hear. And you choreograph workouts for us. So now the next time I play one of your workouts, I'm going to be sitting there thinking, the man who wins medals and on the stage for dance, he's making me do these moves here in VR. That's exactly what I'm going to think now.
I would be so honored to think for you to just feel that as you
Yeah,
play through all the workouts
for
that I get
sure.
to have a hand in.
Yes. So you started working for Disney. Had you graduated college yet?
No, Disney was my second job
Oh,
at the
wow.
time. My first job was a barista at Starbucks. That was on campus. And yeah, I mean, so yeah, Disney. I guess we're gonna buckle in, everyone. Seatbelts left to right. Pull on the yellow tab. I'm gonna try to keep this as focused as possible because
No, let's
Disney
see where it
is
goes. Let's see where it goes.
Disney has
So,
been a huge part of my life.
yeah.
Huge, huge. I'm actually about to celebrate 9 years of being at the company
Wow.
uh, next week. Yeah.
That's huge. That's massive, man. They're gonna have a parade for you one day. You've been
You
working there
know,
so long.
I would I would love that. But I mean, there are far more important characters that deserve to be highlighted, like the big cheese himself, Mickey
Truth.
Mouse. So, you
Truth.
know, you know, I'll get my time somewhere else.
So you do mostly the parades.
Yeah, I hired into parades in 2015
Okay.
on a whim. So, like I said, kind of in the beginning, a couple of my teammates had been performing for Disney um, at the same time we were on the team. And I think after just dancing with them for like a year, like they were just like, Jared, like I think you'd be a really good fit for Disney. Um, I guess a little backstory too. Like I Disney kid through and through, love it,
Same.
love it. But like I never got to really experience it in its physical form so much as as a kid. Like there are only a handful of times that like I've been able to like go to Disneyland with my family.
Hmm.
Um, Again, like cherished out those trips so much because like it was whenever like we don't need to go to Disneyland, um, but I always loved it from afar. Like so much to the point that one of my goals in life was to actually become an Imagineer.
Oh
Um,
wow.
I like the people that help bring the
Create
experiences to
all the
life.
experiences. Yes.
Yeah, so like I was very obsessed with like like wanting to know what was behind the scenes and like how things were being brought to life. Like I remember being caught up with like internet blogs about like here's how the construction is going on for the new areas and just looking at pictures of moving dirt and
Yeah.
um yeah
Trying to get a glimpse of the behind the scenes. What's happening? How are they doing
mhm,
that? What's next? The
yeah.
magic. Hmm.
And even like I think just even outside of Disney, like I've always loved just the idea of like theme parks. I remember like as a kid anytime like my family would travel to like hotels, like there was always that one section in the lobby that had like the brochures for like everything that was like in the area. I would collect all of the theme park maps and just see like ooh, like what kind of roller coasters and experiences they have. Like at such a young age, I was like, I don't know what happened with all those maps, but I've always loved just the idea of theme parks and bringing things to life. Like
Hmm.
played Roller Coaster Tycoon, Thrillville, all those kind of games of trying to bring theme parks to life in my own visions. Um, yeah, so then when I got on to CADC in college, a lot of my teammates had Disney passes, and they would just go like so casually. I've never heard of such a thing where it was like, yeah, we're just gonna go. We end class at 5. We have rehearsal at 8. We're just gonna hop over because it's so close to
Right.
school. We're just gonna go grab a churro, ride Space Mountain, and then call it a day.
You're like,
I've never
what?
heard of such thing. Like everything, every time we go to Disneyland, it's always like we're gonna get there right when the park opens.
Hmm.
We're not gonna watch any shows because we need to hit every single thing, and we
Yep.
are going to stay and get our money's worth until we are the last car leaving the parking structure.
Right.
Like that's always what I've been associated Disneyland with.
Hmm.
So I think the combination of that and just like being wanting to be with like my peers to experience, Disneyland outside of family. I actually got my first Disneyland pass at the end of my first season with CADC. And then 2 months after, we found an open call for parades. I went with two of my teammates as like just a whim. Like I didn't want it at the time. I was so busy. Like like we
Right.
covered. Um, yeah, but I was like, I would love to see like where I stand. Like I could see myself doing this in the future, maybe after school. And I actually ended up booking Disney and my other teammates actually didn't, and they were the ones that
Oh
really wanted
no.
it.
Oh no. Oh, you're like, oh,
So
I'm sorry. I got the job. Mm.
yeah, I was like, I wasn't expecting it at all. I had no zero expectations, and honestly, the rest is history. Like I hired in when I was 18, and like those people like have become my second family for sure. Like up until now, like they've seen me grow into like a young adult, and they've helped. They're a really big part of who I am, and
Hmm.
like I think why I love performing so much.
So, how many nights a week do you typically, or how many days a week do you typically dance in a parade?
It depends. I mean, on it, like obviously at a time where that was like my main source of income, I was doing 5 days, 6 days back to back. Um, it's a tough job. It's really it's so physically demanding and like mentally can be mentally draining too. Like dance is one thing, but to be asked to perform specifically with parades, like from start to finish, like we could be out on the parade route for as long as like 30 minutes at a time, just consistently going and going
Yeah.
and going, performing in extreme weather, like in costumes of whatever they'll give us,
Right. I was
you
about to
know,
say costumes, the costumes, man.
yeah, like it's you have to be so like athletic to be able to
Yeah.
withstand so much, and to do that like twice a day, back to back for, an entire week straight. Like, yeah, it's so challenging, but like I have the highest respect for everyone that goes through parades because like that is truly like a performing experience that like you'll never get anywhere else. If anything, I
Truth.
think like with dance, I think maybe the thing that kind of resembles it the most is maybe like dancing on tour
Mm.
with like an artist,
Hmm.
like just being expected to crank out full performance, full energy for, an extended amount of time and then
Yeah.
just doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
so I used to be there like, every try to be there every single day of my life, but like life evolves. Sometimes shows only run for a limited season, so like I think I'm averaging about like I usually do my work week, and then if there's nighttime offerings, I'll just go straight from work into the nighttime performing, or I'll usually save my weekends to like do the daytime shows.
Mm.
Yeah, so like literally always dancing, always moving.
Always, because when you're not performing, you're practicing, you're
Hmm.
learning new choreography for the parade or for your competitions. I mean, it's just nonstop dance. It's
Hmm.
always in your mind. It's like
Always.
when I hear songs or someone says something. Someone sent me a message earlier and said, I have a confession to make. And naturally, my first thought is a song, is a Foo Fighters song. I want to continue singing the lyrics. I do that. You do that with dance and music.
Hmm.
You hear music and you just naturally already know what you're going to do and move.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point now where like if I'm just going back and forth between, in my car, I call it choreography
I love that.
because I literally spend also so much time driving everywhere up and down Southern California just to do everything that I want to do.
Yeah.
That, like music is really the thing that gets me through, these long commutes and stuff. And I
Hmm.
just find myself like already envisioning just like choreography in so many different forms. Like I could be listening to, a popular TikTok song right now and be like, I can choreograph this into Parade if I got asked to, or like I'll listen to just like I don't know even like commercial ads and be like this would actually be really fun to try to map in Supernatural. Like it's always just finding
Intertwining.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mind of a choreographer. It's it's crazy up here. At least
It's
at least
crazy.
in mine. I don't know if any of the other ones feel that way, but it's definitely crazy up here.
So I'm interested to know what your favorite music to listen to and jam out to, not choreograph, but listen to. Are they the same, actually? Are they the same thing?
That actually, now that I think a little bit deeper about it, I think the first thing that comes to mind is pop.
Hmm.
I think it's just so easily digestible. It's
Hmm.
catchy. A lot of it's high energy, and like the
Yeah.
lyrics are catchy too. Specifically though, Korean pop, K-pop. I I will go to the ends of the world for that. I got introduced to Korean pop when I was in middle school because I started having more like Korean friends at the school that I was attending, and I think from there I've just been following Korean pop for the longest time. now. So I would say probably K-pop is my go-to genre, but I
Mm-hmm.
really do love like all types of genre of music, especially like growing up with dancing hip hop. Like I love
Mm-hmm.
R&B, I love hip hop. I also love like the 90s music and the 2000s music that my sisters grew up with,
Yeah.
like the boy bands, the girl bands, um, and like my mom and my dad, they love the 60s, 70s music, like the Beatles, like Supremes, like so yeah, like I love all types of music really. But pop is probably the most easily digestible, and
Yeah.
Korean pop, I could go down rabbit holes. I've been the concerts I've been to are primarily K-pop, and yeah, it's crazy in that world. I love it. I love to be a part of
That's
it.
your jams. I love that. So if you get an opportunity to choreograph a K-pop song, whether it be in dancing or in supernatural, are you the first one to raise your hand like, "Hey, let me have it."
Absolutely. I think I have from day one already just guns a blazing. Just let's. Here is I'm K-pop because I already know like we have such a limited selection of music, K-pop music in the library right
Yep.
now. Where it was like if it comes through and no one else is trying to like push for more Korean pop, like I'll be at the front of that charge.
You're putting your name on the list with a heart.
Yes. Heart, 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 heart. And I will move mountains to be able to just get more Korean pop in my hands on all those things. But also like if people want to like dive in, like I love just being able to be like, yeah, let's work on this together.
Yeah, the collaboration. I would assume that in all of the job roles that you have in like all the different dance worlds, that collaboration is really a big part of it.
Absolutely. Collaboration is huge. I would not be where I am without it, to be quite honest. Like, I think a lot of everything I've done really has kind of been team based.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would like to think that I'm a really good team player and just know how to work with groups of people. And I think something that I've realized through dance is that like I love learning. I love being a student and just like being a sponge and just trying to take in so much information because I can be a really good student. If it wasn't at school with 1 point, then at least let me do it with dance.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, and I think the more that I started kind of developing my own artistry and craft, like I remember something that I learned in my dance crew was like honestly, like just take the things that because you're around so many different styles of everything, just take what you love
Mm-hmm.
and just do that. Like it made perfect sense. I was like, yeah, why would I do anything that I don't like or don't feel confident in, and just like use all those to create your artistry, your vision, your brand, like because it's gonna be literally everything that you like work hard for and are like passionate about, and it's fun for you.
Right.
So with collaboration, yeah, I think I mean, I was the newest choreographer to the team, and I think by that point in like Supernatural, like it was already such like a here's like the do's and don'ts of like what is considered like safe and effective movement, and like what we've the movements that we already tried, and like yeah, we should stay far away from that. It's not going to quite work in in VR or
Mm-hmm.
in headset. So I think being introduced to a very specific style of how I have to choreograph and create felt very daunting at first. I was like, ooh, like what can I do here? Because I was like, I wasn't a really big like, I didn't follow a lot of like, virtual reality and just being in
Right.
a tech space. Like it was so daunting. But I think the more that I got to work like one on one with, you know, our very small team of unicorns, as we all know them
Yes.
by now.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, it was just kind of like, what can I take from my dance experience that I know that's worked for me? So like like every time I get to work with another choreographer, it's like, oh my god, like I love how you thought about that. I would have never thought about that. And I was like, I want to take that as inspiration and kind of use that to, build my foundation and see like what can I do.
Yeah. How can you be uniquely you using the skills that you've already learned
Hmm.
and bring it to the headset, bring it to Supernatural?
Yeah.
So, had you ever been in the headset before you got a job at Supernatural?
No, that was Supernatural was my in for at home VR. I guess like with like the origin story is actually kind of well crazy is the word we're gonna use.
We're into it. Tell us.
It's a journey. So take a walk with me. It's 2020. The world has shut down. As a dancer, that was the worst thing that like I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? There's no Disneyland
Yeah.
to the point where like Disneyland is like a pillar. She will always be there no matter what. But I was like, Disneyland's closing now. I was like, oh, this is it, guys. So yeah, dance was just like, what are we gonna do? Luckily, like the studio that I was with, that I've been working with, like we figured out the way to, have Zoom rehearsals and like teaching over Zoom and just, doing all that virtually. But then at a certain point, it was like, what are we gonna do? Like this is like people, just I think staring in front of a screen for so long, like there was going to be a little bit of burnout attached to it, and it did get there. But like it's not as motivating to as like when we're so used to the physical, like
Yeah.
the physical spaces. So that was a really big like, what am I going to do? I've devoted so much of my life to dance now. What's next? So luckily, even though Disneyland was closed, like there was a period of time where we were still employed with the company, but we were furloughed. So we still
Mm.
had access to all of our benefits. And one of the benefits that was newly added within the last couple of years was the Disney Aspire program, which there was a list of approved programs and majors from different colleges where you would sign up and they would fully cover your education.
Oh, wow.
So, a couple months into the pandemic, I was like, dance doesn't look like it's going to be, I would say, thriving anytime soon.
Right.
And then maybe I was like, okay, maybe this is the time I need to lock back in and kind of like, okay, maybe I should try my hand at the whole computer science programming thing. Because I did love, like, I knew that I wanted to work in tech in some way or some form. It was just such a broad, like, I didn't know what I was going
Yeah.
to do with a bunch of coding languages. Like, what am I gonna do? There's like data entry. I could build a website. I could build an app. I could go into
Hmm.
games. Like I kind of got overwhelmed with
No.
starting there. So one of the programs I actually looked for that was game design and development or game programming and development. So that was one of the courses that Disney would fully cover, and I went back to school for a little bit. You know, I learned graphic design. I learned a little bit of coding, a little bit of game engine. Illustrator, Photoshop, just kind of everything that kind of pertains to developing video games. And it did click this time because there was a nice focus on like what am I learning all this for? you
Right.
know?
You had a
Um,
purpose.
yeah, so I was in school for about maybe a year, and I think at the end of 2020, I'd already been a couple months into school, but I was just curious. I was like, you know what? Let's see what kind of jobs are out there because it doesn't look like Disneyland's opening anytime soon. And even if Disneyland does open or Starbucks, like I don't know if like the numbers are going to be very limited. So I got to start thinking of backup plans. So the first thing I did actually was let me just pull up, job search. I think it was Indeed, and I said dance. What's around me for dance? Just to see what's out there. Um, and I was going through, studios looking for virtual teachers. Great, I already have that. And then I came across level designer mapper. And I was like, did I put in the right search criteria? Because I was like, that sounds like a video game. And then I read into it a little bit more and I was like looking for dancers with, fitness background and tech to make maps for a VR fitness app. And I said, I'm sorry, what is this? So I applied for the job and went through the whole interview process too. I even met Benny. He interviewed me and kind of just learned about what Supernatural was. mind you, I was just like, I'm just here coming in with dance and fitness experience. Like, I just maybe took a month of coding. Like, I'm no graphic designer, I'm no coder whatsoever. So the tech aspect was just completely past me.
Mhm.
But I was like, oh my God, this exists? Like,
Right?
what is this? Um, Unfortunately, I didn't get the job that time. It was not the right timing. But immediately after that interview with Benny, I was just like, I need to see what this is about. Because I've only also seen like Beat Saber from afar too. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, cool. And I also grew up on rhythm games too. Like I know Kat mentioned it, but like Bust a Groove,
Yep.
my jam, my jam. Like DDR, Guitar Hero, loved all of that. So I was like, I have to go and experience what this is. So I went and bought a headset,
Did
and
you?
hmm
Oh,
I was like, I
cool.
got to see what this is about. So all of 2021, when I was still in school and just working in Starbucks and teaching dance virtually and like hybrid, I was just like, oh, this is this is so cool. I was like, it's literally everything that I've quite, you know, like everything that just makes sense to me in my life. Like I'm dancing, I'm playing games, and there's like intuitive music behind it. Again, I was playing Beat Saber more because, like Supernatural requires a monthly subscription.
Right.
I was working at the time. I was like, the free trial, I'm gonna spend my entire free trial like in the headset just trying to like see what this is about.
Right.
But I was like, you know what? I I'm gonna keep this on my radar. Like I didn't get it this time, but this is something that I can see myself doing. So for the whole year of 2021, I was doing my thing, keeping hopping into Beat Saber every now and then, just trying to get my skills up, if you will.
Yeah.
And then at the end of 2021, towards the end, was when I got my call back to come back to Disney. So then I was like, oh my gosh, the world is great again.
Finally.
I was like, so I came back for the holiday season. I left my job at Starbucks after being there for so long. I was like, yay, like Disney, here it is. We'll do that. We'll do school. It made sense. And then after the holiday season, we got kind of hit with the news. Like the unfortunate thing with parades, like obviously, like it's all dependent on what shows are happening at the resort
Yeah.
at the time. There was construction that was supposed to be happening on the parade route after the holiday season in the
Um,
downtime. So they're like, welcome back. We're happy you're here, but we're not going to have as many job opportunities and hours until like for the next couple of months.
mm,
So I'm here freaking out like, oh my God, I just left Starbucks. What am I going to do? But I always kept that. I saw the job posting again for mappers. It came around the same time I came back to Disney. And I was like, I really don't think it's the time right now. Like I just got back to Disney. Like I have unfinished business that I need to, come back to and with there. But then right when we got that news at the end of the holiday season, the job posting was still up. And I was like, I think I think it's time. I think I need to step forward and put myself out there.
yeah.
And this will all come full circle because I applied. Our recruiter at the time was actually one of my first shift supervisors at Starbucks.
Oh, wow.
She was,
Really?
mm-hmm. And I remember like we finally got in contact, and we're just like, wait, what?
I know you. Hold on.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah. She's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing applying? And I was like, what are you doing here? Like, how did we cross paths again? And she's like, dude, like I obviously I've worked with you. I followed you when I was a freshman. She was a senior. She's like, I worked with you, like, and I've also like I've been following your dance journey like this whole time, all these years. Mind you, this is like what 4 years out of school, and she's like, yeah, like I've been following your journey like this whole time. Like I think you'd be a really great fit for it. It's like I need to get you in interviews right now. Like
Right. Like, let me
so.
tell the people I know you. We need to hire this guy.
So I was in a week long worth of interviews, and yeah, a week later I was welcome to Supernatural.
Wow. The timing of that, everything happens at the right time and for a
Yes, I'm
reason.
a very firm believer in that. So
Hmm.
yes, that is my Supernatural origin story.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is. It is. And so you get the job with Supernatural. You're working from home, probably because the pandemic is still happening. Things are, people are coming back
Slowly
a little
opening
bit.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Disney gets done with their construction and they call you and go, "We're ready for you to be in a parade again." And
Hmm.
so you're back to being in parades and mapping for Supernatural
Hmm. And the rest
and
is
dancing
history.
in
That's
competitions.
and the cycle begins again.
So tell us about your initial start at Supernatural. I know you're a lifelong learner. You like to learn things. You like to pick up things. So I can imagine it was sort of really difficult at first.
Yes, it was very daunting. Very daunting. Like,
Yeah.
again, like, what do you mean? Well, for the rest of my life, I'm going to be spending like in a VR headset. I was like, that's what I'm going to be doing for a full-time career. I was like, this is like so much tech involved, or
Yeah.
at least what I thought was going to be. But like, it, I think it was really daunting just because, like, again, like with my limited background in programming and graphic design,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for it, but I will force myself to learn, and I will excel at this. That's always my if I'm gonna go put my mind to it, I'm gonna do it.
Same.
Um, but honestly, like yeah, I think like I mentioned earlier, like the time I came into Supernatural, there's a very like specific style of choreography that they've already had. Like I think maybe like what, a year into the app. Um, but I also came in right when like boxing was just launched. Like it was still very new.
Okay.
Um, so at the time over the pandemic, also like one of the things that I was doing was at home boxing. My sister started picking that up as like, okay, like let's work out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was actually boxing, you know, in my garage on a
Yeah.
punching bag, all that kind of stuff. Like I was obsessed with it. It also got me back into like, what I like the fighting and the martial arts. Like it
Yeah.
was nice to revisit that kind of energy for so long. Um, so when I got hired, they're like, okay, like, we're going to teach you how to use all the things. But I was like, boxing is a fairly new modality. I was like, I can start there. Like I'm obsessed with it right now. It makes sense to me, because one of the things that I was doing to practice boxing at home, just intuitively, was like I always just play music. I would practice punching to the beat of songs just to
Okay.
like get my it made sense to
It
me. I'm a
makes
dancer, I'm a
sense to
mover,
me.
but
Yeah.
just doing that over and over again, that was like that's what I do. So yeah, I kind of took on boxing as like my go-to, like I'm gonna learn this first. So I actually learned boxing before flow.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I got trained by Benny, Ethan, and Asia. Benny was the all-knowing, just like here's where we've come from, here's where it is now, like here's how you do this, here's how you do this. um, yeah, so Benny, like I was working with him extensively for like, the first couple months. And then after I got a solid grip on, you know, like being familiar with that, then I got passed on to Ethan and Asia, where all the choreographers, they have like their own little things to be able to share. So
Mm-hmm.
Ethan, I remember like taught me how to be so particular. Like he can catch the littlest details, and like he can tell like if this angle of the target needs to be like this or like this. And I was like, I love that, like because being a dancer, like detail oriented, I got to match with the members of my team. So I was like, yes, this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or like even just like suggesting like the angle of this target flows better into this, or you have a rogue target just flying at you randomly,
Right.
you know. So it
Right.
really taught me like again to be just very just look for these
Yeah.
things. And then Asia really helped to kind of just like help me find my style a little bit and kind of refine that, because I
Mm.
think coming from like similar dance preferences and energy wise, like it was just really easy to kind of learn from her and like yeah, like I love this move, like keep going with that. um, yeah, and then so I worked with them kind of like getting feedback and suggestions on like how to improve things like that. And then after a couple months with boxing specifically, it was like, yeah, like I think you're ready to learn flow. And then the cycle repeated. Um, got certified to be like, yeah, like this is all good stuff. And then it was finally there where it was like now I want to see like what the other choreographers are doing and
Yeah,
taking inspiration from them. So yeah, it's always a lifelong collaborative effort that continues to keep inspiring me to keep creating movements that are just fun and effective for fitness.
for sure. Was flow hard for you to wrap your mind around, or
Oh my gosh. Yes.
really?
Yes. Yes. Like I think preference wise, obviously I think like it feels right to do flow,
Hmm.
There is it just felt it feels right in Supernatural.
Yeah.
Um but I forgot who said it, might have, but like they might have mentioned it, but like boxing is just, it's a set of rigid moves. You can only
Hmm.
do so much there. With flow, like every place could be a target or something. Like triangles, I can fill up the whole space, and it's a full 360 experience too. I was like, it was a really scary to think like, how am I supposed to fill up a 360 immersive, map with all of these targets and tails? Like, where do I even begin? But I remember what I got told in the beginning too was like, honestly, like if it feels intimidating, just choreograph to the things you like. So I was like, let me look through the very scarce library of Korean pop songs that we have in this, and I was like, okay, like let's get the ball rolling. Let's,
Hmm.
what I want to do here. So yeah, that was again like my way into flow. My first boxing maps were K-pop. My first flow maps were K-pop. So thank thank K-pop for getting me to where I am right now.
I love that. All back to K-pop. It's going to
Yeah.
go back to K-pop several times. I have a feeling about this.
Yes.
Do you remember when your first flow workout was came out? Were you nervous? Did you know it was coming out? Were they like, "Okay, dude, your first workout's up. It's coming out Monday." You know?
Actually, no. To be quite honest, I think, like from the time that we start working on, our choreography and then
Yeah.
it gets kind of done with our area, like, it takes some time to get ready, app ready,
Right.
if you will.
Hmm.
Um, but we just, like, we just keep cranking out content for you guys. It's
Yeah.
incredible, but like, it's so easy for me to just lose track of like what's going live because again, we're just getting tossed around in so many different workouts and trying to choreograph the next best thing. So
Right.
I remember, I think maybe I was my first map that went live. I think was a Paramore map. It was a high box, I think, and I think it was already maybe like 3 weeks out, and I didn't even realize that it had
Right.
launched. And I was like, oh
I
my gosh, wait, when did I miss this?
I think that maybe is a good thing for your nerves,
For
you
sure,
know,
absolutely.
that you had no idea. And then you
Yeah,
just got told after and you're like, "What? What? It's people were playing it? What? Hold on."
I was like, when was anyone like? Okay, like no one's gonna let you know. Great, love that. But
You're expecting an email letting you know this is when it's coming.
yeah, but obviously, like for the more like special workouts, like like for
Yeah.
the artist series and like April Fools, and like obviously like, there will always be like it's launching today, everyone. Like we
Yeah.
put so much work into this, like yeah. But I remember just very like being like, why did no one tell me my first workout was going to be published or my first map?
I know. I know. I would have said the same thing like, I got to know these things, man.
Yeah.
So, you have been working at Supernatural since 2021, correct?
2022, top of
2022.
2022.
Okay. 2022. Wow, you're the baby.
Yeah.
You're the baby of the choreography team.
Going on
I love
strong.
that.
Going on strong.
I love that. And I know you guys are scattered. Do you live or, are you close enough there to go visit the headquarters and meet with people? You go into work.
Yeah.
Uh,
We have a local kind of like not really LA, but Southern California team. It's me, Benny, Ethan, and Asia. So like we're usually the most like accessible to like visit the offices whenever we need to and kind of stuff like that. Yeah, and every so often, like we'll get chances to do like on-site gatherings, like with the coaches and like the curators, and just have a nice like set amount of days just to be together. Because obviously,
Yeah.
like you know, working on Zoom and virtual, all that kind of stuff, like it's different when you get to finally see everyone in person. Like I remember for so long, I think it was maybe 8 months. It was like summer, I think, and so I started in January. I haven't seen people physically in the flesh until maybe summer. I think the first,
Wow.
well, I think the first two people that I saw physically were Benny and Asia, because they had actually come to one of my performances with Maker Empire.
Oh.
I was just like, hey, like I'm putting on I'm really involved in the show. Like if you guys were down to just experience dance, and you know, so they came out and supported, and I was like, that was the first time I ever saw them in the flesh. And actually, those are the first two people that I got to do collaborative like posts with. I remember like I did like a tap like a
You
little
did
promo
with Benny, you
with
sure did.
Benny. I
That's the
think,
first time I ever saw you
mhm.
and realized that you were one of the choreographers.
Yeah,
I'm going to pop that video on the screen
yeah.
because I remember your smile is what stood out to me. Obviously your dance moves too, but the first thing, it made me smile. And I was like, this is one of them. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a wild experience because again, like I've only ever had such a, you know, very limited experience with tap. I had to learn a couple numbers for, school musicals when I was part of them. But then we learned the Moses Supposes routine from Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Mind you, iconic, absolutely
Yes.
iconic, and incredibly difficult. I didn't put my tap shoes on. Maybe I haven't worn them maybe since high school. I was surprised that they fit, but they were. I just remember like they were like, yeah, like for the debut of Mighty Musicals, like this is in the um, Moses poses in the thing, and then we also made a really like
You made the
intentional.
coolest map. I'm so glad you brought this up because that map still stands out to me because the stance changes and Dewana calls out. She goes, now tap dance. And every time I suggest this workout to people, I say, you let go, have fun, channel your inner tap dancer. Like,
Yeah,
channel it. It is so, so iconic, that workout.
I could
So
honestly like
iconic.
I honestly almost forgot about that because I was like, yeah, those are my origins. Um, but yeah, so I got to do that one with Benny, and then I also got to work on another post with Asia. Um, yeah, we choreographed for I think nonstop K-pop in boxing, which was again boxing and K-pop.
K
I was
pop.
like, please let me be on this playlist, please. And then Asia was the other choreographer on that one too. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I know you're local now too. So they're like, yeah, like, why don't we do some promo for, like the debut of this, which goes into funny thing now because this was literally after like, they watched my showcase, and then I was like, Asia, you're local, and she was like, yeah, like, duh. And then I was like, we had auditions coming up for my company, um, within the next couple of months, and I was like, Asia, get over here, please, because I think this is again like it makes sense, like our style. Like I think this could be good for you. So I basically dragged her by the ear. I was like, "You're coming with me to our open rehearsal. You're gonna see what this is about." And yeah, she's a part of my dance team now.
Oh, wow. That's
So
so cool.
we've been dancing together for about the time that I've been at Supernatural. So it's really cool that like I got to learn from her how to be like a supernatural choreographer, and then me being able to be one of her company directors on Maker Empire, like she gets to learn from me as well too. And obviously, yeah, that's my
It's
girl. We
it's all connected, and I bet when you guys get to collaborate together at Supernatural, again, it feels like home because you have that working in the dance company and at Supernatural.
yeah.
Sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely nice to be able to kind of be like local to more coworkers because again, I think I thrive off of being like in teams and just in person work. So it's nice to be able to see everyone, and it always warms my heart just to be like, yeah, like I feel like I obviously know you guys, but I remember like when the first time I saw Ethan, he was so tall. And the first
You
time I
didn't
saw
expect them
Lowry,
to be that. You were like, hold
so
on, dude.
so tall. I
Wow.
was like, this can I could look 6 foot from this angle from right here in this view for so long, but like yeah, just the most surprising things of just, thinking that you know people so like we literally see each other every day for hours through a computer screen and then just being in the flesh, in the
In the
physical,
flesh,
it's like
finally.
I love it.
So I can relate to this because Supernatural has brought into my life an amazing group of friends and community members. I really threw myself into the community. And because of that, I've been so lucky to meet so many incredible people that I talk to every day. Every day. I work out with every day. I have video chats with them. We send voice messages. And I've been lucky enough to go to a couple of meetups with them, meet them in person. And there's nothing, it fills your heart, it fills your soul, it fills a part of you that you didn't know you needed.
Yeah,
That's what Supernatural has done for me in my real life. And so, we joke, our friends in the headset. So you guys sort of had friends in the headset too when you're working
absolutely.
remotely in that way. And so I totally understand finally getting together in person and being in the same room in the flesh. You can touch them. It's like you're real, you
Yeah.
know? You're not just in the computer, not in the headset.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think like also just knowing that the community that we have with Supernatural is far beyond anything that I could have ever like imagined. I think like being, a dance teacher and just, kind of working professionally in Southern California for so long, it's just like again, like we always think like tour, backup dancing, teaching classes around the world, like that's like it for
That's all
you've
you can
made
do.
it. You've made it as a
Broadway.
dancer.
Yeah.
Broadway, yeah. Um, so like I think realizing that there's probably hundreds and thousands of people across the nation that are you know are supernatural athletes, like it's crazy to think that like I'm only used to ever teaching to you know a studio full of 50 people average, you know but to know that like choreography and movement is getting translated across distances and crazy numbers of people, like I
Hmm.
never would have thought that that was like going to be on my bingo card for the impact that I have as a dancer and a
Yeah.
performer and entertainer. Um, I mean, like with Disney, like I was really lucky to be able to have an opportunity for so long to just kind of have a stage, but it's always like getting to say that I get to perform in front of thousands of guests every single day. Like that was always kind of like, oh yeah, like this is a cool
It's a big
experience. Like
deal. It's a
it's a
big
huge
deal.
deal. And
Yeah.
then I always thought that was overwhelming. Like
Hmm.
there's a different audience every single time, but now like to know that with VR and the metaverse, like
Hmm.
it can even go so much wider. I think that is the thing that always gets me
Yeah.
going, where it's like what I'm doing is impacting so much more than what I thought that I could
Yeah.
reach.
Dude, you impact so many people because of Supernatural and because of the movements. It's literally brings so many of us joy, keeps us healthy and fit, encourages us to make friends, be in the community, help others. The impact, it's like a domino effect.
Hmm.
And even if just knowing it's one or two people, that's really cool. But
Yeah.
it's literally hundreds of thousands of people.
For sure. And I think even more like special too, like Supernatural definitely has been passed around the family, you know? Um,
Really? Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
so obviously, like, I will throw all of my family has tried Supernatural, but definitely, like, my mom is a Supernatural athlete.
Yes.
she, and it's like, it's really cool because obviously, like, she like did like Zumba at one point and like, but all like fitness is always, she's always wanted that to be like a thing in life,
Hmm.
but just naturally like
Yep.
busy with like taking care of kids and work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it becomes such, like a thing like you have to figure out where it fits into your life.
Yes.
And I remember like the first time she tried Supernatural, it was just like this eye-opening thing for her when she didn't even realize that like she was working out. She was huffing and puffing the first couple of maps, but she was like, I want to continue doing it. So
Yes.
I got her own headset. I got her own Supernatural account, and I think to know that like obviously like the experience that she has with being able to work out without feeling like she's limited or like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that I've always been like thankful for because like I get to share a little bit of my dance journey and how I get to teach so many people back to my family.
Yeah, that's priceless. That is absolutely priceless. And you pointing out it's always hard for all of us. I'm a mom, woman. It's hard to make time for yourself, to really make that time. And what the headset allows us to do is basically have no excuse.
Yeah,
It makes it's right here. It's right there. Don't sit and watch TV for a little while. Get in the headset.
yeah,
You want to do it, and like you pointed out, you don't even realize you're exercising per se. Of course, you're huffing and puffing, but you want to keep going. Like the whole experience is designed to engage every part of you, and you just forget.
absolutely.
You forget you're working out. No one's watching you. You're completely immersed. And that's the beauty for me of Supernatural, and I'm sure for many users,
Yeah, like
many of
especially
us.
like I mean in like my mom's case, like like she's always stay at home, always like um having to drive to the gym and just be also like I mean the gym is also really intimidating too. Even
It
for me,
is.
I only started getting comfortable with it like last year, so like but just being able to move and do it at a comfort of like it's literally right there for you. You can do it in the privacy of your own home and just feel safe,
Yeah.
like safe movement, and also just safe as like like I can do
Yeah.
this without judgment. Like I think that's the most
Exactly.
beautiful thing about not even just exercise and movement, but like I think especially with dance because that's something that I think when I try to teach like a new dancer, like they're always like, oh, I'm too shy to like try new
Yeah.
moves or be in front of someone and like
They
being
don't want to be
judged.
judged. Yeah. They don't want to be
Yeah, that's
judged.
exactly it. So this literally like gets, you know, it helps you break through that step and just like
Yeah.
I just want to move because I want to move. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful. It kind of makes me a little emotional thinking
For
about
sure.
it because, for me, we all have our own supernatural story. But for me personally, I found supernatural in a really dark place, during a really dark place. My confidence, the way I felt about myself in my life, and supernatural, I say it all the time, is like therapy for me to get in the headset, to move so freely, express emotion, get in there, sweat. It does things for your brain chemistry, as you know, because you're a dancer and you're working out nonstop. So, all those endorphins get released. And for a lot of people, supernatural could be their first experience with fitness, like real fitness that they stick to.
Yeah.
It's life changing. It's so impactful. It's the future. And what I think is really cool is that your job, you're such a busy dude. You're going from place to place to place to place. But if you've got your headset, your laptop, you can make maps and work from anywhere.
Yeah, that's the
It
magic of it.
fits into your life just the way it fits into our lives as the users.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It does make me really emotional thinking about like, sometimes obviously like, with the busy life that I have too, like it gets overwhelming too, like
Yeah,
creative burnout is a thing too,
for sure.
I think 99% of my brain capacity is dedicated to choreography and
Yeah.
figuring out formations and like everything dance related, so I do find it's really easy for me to kind of, burn out and can be like, I don't feel like creating anything right now. But then I always lock back in and just realize, like you have such a wide reach to make like your worst day, like my worst day could be someone's life-changing moment of like I loved this. So
Yeah.
I think it's little things like that that keep me going, and like I love it. And I think that's always why I kind of find myself in like leadership positions and trying to teach, because I think having that accountability of like knowing that like you have the impact, you can make an impact on someone's life. Like I love that, and just knowing that I can have a part, even if it's just a little small thing, to help change someone's life for the better.
Yeah. I Yeah, it definitely makes me emotional to think about. And I feel honored that you guys have been coming on the show because I know I'm a huge behind the scenes person. If I get interested in something, I want to know all about it. Like I'm going to
Hmm.
go deep diving on the internet, find every little thing you can think, search for random weird keywords so I can find this over here and connect it all. Like I'm that person with the little map on the wall. Like okay, I know that, but that's just the way my
Yeah.
brain works. It's how I am. Um, so to bring you guys from behind the screens and out so everyone can meet you and say, they can find out about your workouts, about your process, tag you in the community. Like, I finally played this workout JR talked about making, and you getting that positive feedback loop. You give to us and we give to you. And I think in the end, it helps you guys stay creative and focused on your bad days, you know? Going in the community and reading that stuff could only help, is my thought process.
Yeah, and it absolutely does. Like I think we said it a couple times with the other choreographers, but like we do pop in there, like we share. That's the thing that lifts us up. Like, with how much we work on every single day, like it's easy also, I mean, to lose track of like the
Yes.
little wins, that like, yeah, this was it. Like, and again, with me and having a busy life, like I've always been, it's something I need to work on for, focusing on like the little wins, because I
You
shouldn't
do,
be ignoring, like,
right?
yeah, this is what you work hard for. It's
For
always not always
sure.
about the big goal, but
And you're right, you can
yeah.
get lost and stuck not celebrating the little wins, continue thinking about the future. Like, I want to do this still and I got to do this. So let's keep going. I think the supernatural community is a great example of a place to remember to celebrate your small wins because that's what they do every day, all day, everything. They celebrate
Absolutely.
everything. It's a good reminder for all of us.
And even my mom will like pop onto the Supernatural community page, and she'll be like, Jared, did you work on this? Like everyone's talking about it, and she's like, now I have to go play it. Like I have to. But yeah, like it's such a very supportive and loving place where it's like I love, just seeing the impact that it makes on people.
It's
And also
very,
like the montages, like the collages that we
yeah.
have, like people doing, like everyone's dancing from afar together,
Yeah.
like that. Those are always like, I love seeing those posts, because it's like, yeah, and especially it's like this is what I envisioned in my mind, and seeing it like live on stage, if you will, on a virtual
Yes.
stage.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so crazy to know that like we we did it. we
Yeah.
we we made you guys move the way that like we envisioned.
Mm-hmm. It's so impactful. I love the giant side by sides. In fact, I'm one of the people who puts the giant side by sides together. So
I do know that.
you're like, I know that. So, knowing, I try and pick songs and mapping. I always go for choreography first when I pick out a song for the group.
Mhm.
And then the song is, how is it meaningful? How can I connect it for something? And then I try and figure out who the choreographer is so that I can tag you guys or, send you a message. Hey, we got 100 people in this side by side. I want
Yeah,
make sure you guys see it. So to hear that you like those and appreciate those will make a huge impact on all of the athletes who are so scared and nervous to record themselves. You know, that will make a huge deal for them. I
for
can't wait for
sure.
them to hear that.
Especially like I think with my dance background of just working for so long and creating sets, and like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, like teaching
Yeah.
choreography to be presented. And I think also with being in the headset, like it's hard to also see Like, what do I even look like doing my own choreography? Like we don't have the luxury of having a mirror right in front of us when we dance in
Right.
Supernatural or move in Supernatural. So being able to see like, oh, the vision worked, everyone, to movement that you came up with, that that I think this for me the biggest compliment I can get as a choreographer, just knowing that like it was so many people did it in the way that you envisioned.
Right.
That's a
I
first place. That's a winning routine in my in my eyes.
We're getting gold medals for
Gold medals. Gold
it.
medals, daily, weekly streaks for it. Yes, get all the points for it.
So, with your dance background, do you ever try and map workouts or map songs to match a dance performance or a music video in Supernatural? Does it translate that way?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Um, my first experience with trying to translate that like actual real life movement was with the line dance workout, the hoedown throwdown,
Yes,
um,
lassos and line dancing.
lassos and line dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I saw this come up in the curation pipeline, I was like, we have to do the line dances.
Yeah.
You are doing yourself a disservice if you have all of these songs and
Mm-hmm.
like naturally like everyone's first, it's like being at a party, like you hear achy breaky heart,
Yep.
wherever you are going to run to the dance floor if you know the line dance. And then if you don't know it but you see the vision and like what's happening, you'll force yourself to learn it even if you're
Yeah.
getting like tossed around like a pinball machine, you know. So I
Right.
was like, we have to do it. um and I think that's where the fun of, I guess, trying to break what we normally know for Supernatural and like
Mm-hmm.
the movement, like what can we do with the limitations that we have of, first of all, like I was like, again, I think Kat brought it up in the
She
last
did.
episode, but it was like, how are we gonna do a 90-degree turn? Like, like you're supposed to, anyone who knows the line dance, like
Right.
you have to turn, but we have
Yes.
to do it in the way that's still safe and effective, taking into consideration like, sometimes I can map in a very big studio if I have the space, or it's going to be
Yeah.
as
A
small
little
as my
tiny spot.
desk.
Yep.
So I was like, what can we do to like still maintain the integrity of the movement while still making it fun and accessible? So that was my first like hand at it, and I'm so glad that it read. It's never going to be a
It did.
perfect science, like
Mm-hmm.
movement is different on everyone, but as long as the integrity of like, oh, I think I know, the people that know will know.
Right.
And I think just also allowing yourself to be like, you know what? I'm not even going to focus on the triangles. Like, I'm just going to do it because
I'm
I'm
gonna
in the
do it.
headset and
Exactly.
I'm going to dance.
Yep.
That's the beauty of it all. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, so that was like my first, I guess, with flow.
Mm-hmm.
The tap dancing and the boxing stance changes, like that was my first go at it too. But then, let me tell you, the first JK pop, that was a collaboration with Justin,
The pros only.
the pros
Yes.
only, and that was
Mm-hmm.
my first pros only. I think I had already been a year into like choreographing in
Mm-hmm.
literally everything else. And then they said, I think Justin came up with me with the idea like, hey, like we want to get more K-pop in there. Like I want to get more J-pop in there. And what's Justin's forte? Pros only.
Yep.
And I haven't done it yet. I've done it for boxing, but I was like, flow, I don't know if I'm gonna live. Because even at that point too, I was like, I'm still trying to figure out, like my pacing and everything. Like I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if I can read targets that fast. Like I was still very much new. I was like, I don't know if even I can do my own choreography. But we were able to, we had a couple songs each, but then our my first true collaboration with that was Gangnam Style. And I know it had been mapped like if we had it in the library, but I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is such an iconic dance, like whether you like K-pop or not, if you were around during that time,
You know
you
it.
knew you know what to
Yep.
expect. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, how do we get this dance move into the headset?
Mm-hmm.
It looked absolutely crazy. The first iterations of it, like, what are we doing? Is this going to make sense? Like, are we going to hurt people? But then again, like, it's like, well, it's pros only. Like, you'll figure. You'll
Yes.
figure it out. It requires that level of, you got to be like brain power to be
Yes.
in there. So like we were just like, you know what? Let's push it through. But then I remember that feeling like so accomplished because we were just like, people were just like, I did the dance. How did they
Yes.
do that?
How did they do that? That was my first. I remember screaming when I got to that song. I screeched when the part comes and you're crossing your arms. I said, they're having us do the dance. It's the real dance. Yes, dude. And then my legs start going and it is magic. These moments where you guys sort of push the envelope, the rules of what is expected in our normal supernatural workouts, I feel like I'm witnessing like an important part of history every time something like this comes out. I seriously do because it's just when I catch it and I realize like that particular movement in that song and map, I just, in my mind, y'all were geniuses. Like, you were straight up geniuses. So good.
Yes. Yes. I love to see it. Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean obviously too, like I think with like choreography too, it's like, I'm gonna do what literally makes me feel comfortable and what I
Yeah.
know works for me. It's yeah, but the challenge is always like how do I get a black and a white target with some tails and triangles to emulate that kind of movement? Yeah, so especially with anything K-pop that's going to be higher intensity, if it ever comes down the pipeline, I will be trying to mimic as much of it as possible. So be on the lookout for any if it ever comes down and you feel like the targets are crazy, but and the
It's
triangles are
probably
telling you to do
yours.
one thing, it's probably mine, but also just please just like watch the video of the original
Right.
song, prep yourself and be like, I think I know what's supposed to be coming. And also too, it's like we want people to be able to go in and replay and just like get better at this and just know like
Yes.
yeah, like it's teaching dance. Like you're never always gonna get it on the first time. So like favorite it, add it to your list and be like, I'm gonna nail this. I'm gonna nail this routine.
Yeah. That, and especially in the pros only category.
Hmm.
You shouldn't, it should take a lot of practice, even for pros. I've been doing Supernatural 3 years. I consider myself a pro. I love pros only workouts. So when you guys can challenge me and my brain can't wrap around what's happening, I get so excited. I'm like, yes, yes, I got to play this 12 more times. Yay.
Absolutely. I mean, also, I think knowing like that, this is also the caliber of like the people that work around me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to pick your mind more because I will always have to at least like when I find a pros I love, like my first instinct is usually to be like, I'm just gonna stand here and let myself get pummeled with the targets, just because like I need to know what's
Going to
happening,
happen.
and then
Yeah.
now that I know what's happening, I'll go back and be like, okay, I know this crazy section is coming up. I know that I'm supposed to be looking at 5 lanes at one time. I know it's coming, so it gets me prepared and to get those higher scores and more points. Yeah, I
That's
love it.
true. So you brought up if in the future a K-pop song comes out to watch the music video.
Absolutely.
So I did
Absolutely.
that recently. As soon as I saw a brand new Pros Only come out, I think it was actually last week. It's the new JK Pop Pros Only High
Hmm.
with Rainier. I looked at the song list and I went straight to YouTube because I had remembered about Gangnam Style. And Justin had spoken about, and I always mess this up, and you were going to cringe. Do 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 do.
Do
How do
do
you say
do do.
that?
Yeah, that's. I mean, literally, quite literally.
I know his experience with that song, and he went second by second for the music video. So as soon as that new workout came out, I went straight to YouTube. Let me watch the music videos before I even play it. So I went in with that knowledge. And I believe I sent you a message right after, and I said, I can't stop me. Dude, I can't stop me. It was so good. It was so good.
That one
Yes.
felt absolutely crazy to try to translate into editor or into editor, but I was like, it needs to happen. It needs to happen. I see no other option for this song.
Yeah.
It's such an iconic dance too, and I like, yeah, that's what I love with K-pop too. It's like you get outside of coaches too, like you have so many other resources to be able to pull from for movement. where it's like you can find that inspiration elsewhere. If like like yeah, it's just I'm glad it translated well because I was
It
like,
did. It
woo.
did. There's a section that messes me up every time. In fact, I played it this morning. It was my workout this morning, and there's this fast-paced part that comes, and I just barely missed the target. It's the one target I miss in the whole set. So it keeps me coming, but I want to keep playing it. But it definitely translates from the music video, the movements that you're trying. You're limited in VR, right? But you
Yeah,
guys
absolutely.
do such a great job. It's very forward thinking, and I really love that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, big kudos to Justin on that for being my my guide in the pros only universe. Like he's like always he's like take my hand, I will lead you through the darkness.
Through the darkness.
I'm like please, because yeah, definitely like just knowing how to like refine things and just knowing the
Hmm.
things that like the patterns and stuff like that haven't like worked in the past. And so I'm like, yeah, definitely has the eye for it and just like knowing I think the right amount of like how much to push
Yeah.
um the envelope with the tool set that we have.
Yeah. He's a master at his pros only craft for
Mhm.
sure. Just like each of you is a master at your own unique aspects of supernatural. Um, when you go in and play supernatural maps,
Mhm.
do you typically go in and play flow or boxing? If you're just like gonna go in there.
Honestly, flow.
Really?
Flow.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Flow, I think because it just offers the most amount of movement
Yeah.
and like I always feel like I want to dance when I do like when I think of hopping into supernatural, like I want to move, I want to dance.
Truth.
Yeah.
Truth. I
Boxing
get
is I mean it's really fun. Don't get me wrong. I love that. That will be my baby forever and always. But there's just something so just like about I think just the more, like targets and tails and triangles, all of that, like yeah, I think it definitely is I think the most magical experience.
there's a freedom in flow
Hmm.
that you don't get. You get this combination of the movements you've choreographed and had us do, right?
Yeah.
But then there's also this like collaboration between the users and the choreographers and the coaches because we're interacting with your maps with our own spin on it.
Hmm.
Like I like to do this little kick thing and we all have our own things we like to add and do that
Yeah,
feels good. And so it's almost like we're collaborating with you guys.
absolutely.
That just clicked for me. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, at the core of it, like we're giving you as choreographers the skeleton of movement. You know, like it's here if you want it, but also live your best life. Like this is your
Yeah.
supernatural journey. Like
Yeah.
do write your own story with that. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know, I will never. I mean, again, with me, I will be doing also more like with the JK pop, the I Can't Stop Me. There are certain moves that I know that like even though there's a target there, like in my body, I know it feels right to like I know I'm supposed to hit it, but I will blissfully ignore that target if this is what the
Yeah.
original dance move was, you
Got it.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like it's all the skeleton, we're providing you with just the basic movement for the set intensity so that you can have your freedom to explore and
Right.
learn also if that is what your journey is and what you want.
Yeah. So how your first pros only JK pop map, that experience to your second pros only flow map.
Hmm.
What difference? Did you learn a lot from that time to this time? Did you come in with your own ideas? Like, all right, dude, I got a plan.
Absolutely. I think with the first pros only, I think I was still very much confined within like this is only what we know, what our guidelines are, our
Yeah.
golden rules for choreography, and like two targets of should never be next to each other or X, Y, and Z rules.
Yeah.
So I think I came in with a very just like what is that like just tunnel visioned
Yeah.
outlook on
Trying to,
like okay
yeah,
trying
trying
to
to
keep
follow the
it
rules.
yeah
trying to do the things that you were taught in, say, maybe some of the lower levels,
Hmm.
intensities.
Yeah, so then I think coming back to my second JK pop, I think about a year later, I was definitely
Yes.
way more ruthless and like we're just
You were
gonna.
ready.
I was like, the worst we can get is just like, nah, this needs to change. Like, yeah. So I think, I mean, my mantra is like the worst that someone can tell you is no,
Yeah.
and like here, make the modification here. But you'll never know if you don't try and go for it. So I'm happy to say that a lot of the original like choreography stayed pretty much the same for that like
That's
iteration of the
incredible.
map. Just little tweaks of like, yeah, this would be a little more comfortable here. Um, yeah, but definitely way more ruthless and being like, this is a pros only. Like we could be asking you to flip and maybe it'll happen.
And maybe it will happen. I know there's this section in the Madhouse Monster, and Mark's. There's these crazy triangles that come at you, and Mark makes this comment like, "Oh, you don't know how to levitate? You don't know how to levitate through those triangles?" And I always say back to him, "Of course I can levitate, Mark, because like, put it on there. Let me see it. Let me do it." It's just a hilarious moment of doing something you didn't ever think possible, and then you
Absolutely.
do it, and you do it with confidence.
Hmm.
I feel like the new JK pop, you came back and you did it with confidence. You were like,
Yeah,
"Here, I got this. Let me put my spin on these maps," and you did.
for sure.
I can
For
see
sure.
especially the difference between jopping. I love jopping. Don't get me wrong. Like jopping is great. You have this intense turning section where you have this combination of targets. We call it the supernatural hand jive. I have no idea
Hmm.
what you all call it, but yeah, and it's complex and it's fantastic. But I can see the progression in your choreography. You feeling more confident and comfortable with the crazy movements in this
Yeah,
next iteration of JK pop.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, with it was I think playing that back too, like dropping. I remember I was like, oh my god, it's my first pros only. I'm so proud of myself, But like the evolution of style, like you can really tell in choreography, especially like from like the earlier workouts that like were released like when the app first dropped, like now,
Right.
like completely different like
Yes.
vocabulary of movement. And I think I love that like we have literally the first workout still just accessible to anyone who wants to just explore
Find them.
because yeah, I mean I love that like we have the history to show like this is our evolution of movement within supernatural. Um, yeah, it's really cool.
Same. I love that part too, that you guys keep the workouts in there. I know licensing, sometimes we lose licensing, songs get dropped, things like that, but you can go back to the very first workout.
Hmm.
I remember when I was doing some prep for a pros only episode we did here on the podcast, I went and played all of them from the start
Hmm.
and I talked about them, and just watching the evolution of you guys is incredible. The movements have definitely changed, evolved, improved, and you can see that your craft, like you guys, I equate it to like doctors. You have continuing education, you're going, you're learning, you're doing things. That's what you guys are all doing, especially you in your working at Disney and learning new choreography for parades. All of this translates and comes back to even better supernatural experiences, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really, really proud to call myself a choreographer for this app because it's like there's literally I don't other than us, group of choreographers here, like I can't think of anyone else that's investing so much time and like effort into this craft that we're doing. So I feel very much a sense of pride knowing that like this is such a unique experience that like we're all learning and growing within it together and
Yeah.
kind of like it just yeah like the exclusivity of it kind of is like it's really cool just to be like
Yeah.
you know it's
I do
we're
this.
evolving, we do this and we're evolving and
Yeah.
like this is still just like there's so much more. I don't even know what's coming down the road for us, but like it's it could be greater than what I ever imagined.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, if we can do flips or whatever, like if there's a way, we'll do it.
You'll
We'll get
find a
there
way.
eventually. Eventually, we'll get there.
So, do you ever have a hand in any of the Disney workouts? Are you fighting the others for Disney workouts with your love of Disney?
More often than not, yes. I had a hand in a couple. Like I worked on Frozen with Cat.
Yes.
Um, I did get to work on like the Lion King anniversary. Um, yeah,
What's do you remember what song you did in The Lion King?
just can't wait to be king for sure.
Oh.
Was yeah, that was on it. I believe I worked on that one with Ethan and Lowry. Yeah. So, but just can't wait to be king. I was like, please let me have the song. Like, as as the baby choreographer, if you will. I was like, it's literally young Simba. Like,
It
I can't
is.
wait to. I was like, let me please exude some of that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Disney, like, yeah, it's always a great spot. Like, to it just feels right. But I remember, like, I have to be careful with what I asked for too, because I remember there was one. I'm not sure if it was a Disney workout, but it was like a sound. It was from the soundtrack of Peter Pan,
Okay.
and it was literally like a sword fight on the ship.
Like, how am I gonna do
I was
this?
like, how am I gonna do what? What music is there to like? I think when I first heard it, I was like, oh, cool. It would be a nice challenge, Like I hear like clink clink and like a little splish splash. Like it was very instrumental and like, but when it came to try to like, how do I put a target there? What is gonna happen here? So like I gotta be careful with what you wish for sometimes. But yeah, so like you'll come into you'll run into a couple of those songs where you're just like, I don't know how this is gonna happen, or like you need to spend a little bit more time and energy to figure out how to get that sweet spot because, I mean, if there's a clink somewhere and then a target comes like a hair later, it's
Hmm.
gonna be like the worst. Like, no, I should be hitting it right on that sweet spot.
Right. Right on that oh man. So tell us about your mapping process. I feel like this leads straight into that because you wish for a song. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I want to do this. Oh, I hear it. Okay, I can make it work. And then you get in there and you're like, oh gosh, this is a nightmare. So
Yeah,
so how do you go through the process of making maps once you get the
yeah.
music?
So, like we'll get all like the songs that are planned for the workouts in
Hmm.
our curation. As like we said, like we have a very organized way for us to like kind of us choreographers to kind of have dibs on like what we want to work on. It's very fair, but also I think with us like it's every like we have enough styles of like everyone's like preferences to make sure that everything is covered
Hmm.
at all. Like we know someone will do it if it just needs to happen, or if like there's no like names on the little pick list. But yeah, we'll get the list of the songs. What I'll usually do is I'll like pull it up on Spotify. I'll listen through all the songs, and each of the songs that I see, I usually, especially if it's one that I'm not familiar with, I'll
Hmm.
pull up the lyrics
Mm.
on it, and I'll
Interesting.
just. I think with my choreography for just like dance in general, like I like to be very intentional with like wordplay, and so if there's little like things where it's like if they're saying like no in or like no no no, I was like
Hmm.
kind of want to do this with my finger,
Yeah.
like make little things like. I'm very intentional with choreography in that sense, so I'll look up lyrics and I'll be like, "Ooh, like this would be really fun to do this kind of move." I'll also listen to like any specific like instrumentals too, like just kind of like also like by itself, just to see like is
Mm.
there anything that's like in the drums or like the little basses or melodies in the piano that like I can really highlight and accent.
Hmm.
So because that's essentially what I kind of do with dance as well too. Like I'll
Yeah.
take it apart, I'll listen to just the vocals, the instruments, um, and kind of dissect like what stands out the most and what do I want to do. So yeah, after taking a good like analysis of like the lyrics and just like
Hmm.
listening to the song full through, I'll also like you know if I'm just listening on my computer, I'll make little notes of like choreography, you're like, oh yeah, like I'll do a little dance in my seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much like how I do my choreography.
Right.
Still got to stay focused on the street, but little shoulder shimmies, little head looks in there
Yeah.
can't ever hurt. So I'll take that, and then yeah, I'll just go right into the. I'll load it up and just start placing targets. And I usually like to work on like one song at a time,
Hmm.
especially now that we've been getting like I mean, before like we used to the workouts used to be like, you could get anywhere from one choreographer on the whole workout to every single song is going to be a different
Right.
choreographer, but now we've kind of moved into the era where it's like all of us are, we have our one workout to kind of do from start to finish, just to,
Right.
you know, I think it makes sense. Like
It
it's a
does.
whole story. It's a production.
Yeah.
Um, so it's definitely been easier for us to kind of like from start to finish, like making sure like if we want to do like certain moves that like want to be highlighted throughout the whole workout, like that consistency is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll just get it on there. I'll push it, and then I'll wait for feedback.
I'll wait for feedback.
Yeah,
So would you say it's basically the same process for outside of the headset dance choreography? You would listen to the music and break it down?
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I think also something that has helped me with my choreography. I love prompts and like guided like I remember like and I used to really hate like improv and just
Hmm.
like I was like no I have to always learn a routine like I can't do it, but now that I've been more comfortable in improv and freestyle, like something like even a very loose prompt where like I know with dance it's like maybe like go across the studio and like try to draw your name out with your elbow and whatever movement comes, like being and stuff like that. I love
Right.
prompt based movement. So even getting like, sometimes I'll work with the coaches too or curation to be like I don't know how we can do this, but like I want also to do this at some point in the workout. So I'm also not only taking like my own visions of like choreography movement, but how can I also bring other people's visions to life on our team?
Right.
Um, that's yeah, like that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, because you guys are all working together. I don't think a lot of people realize how many different people are involved in building a workout. So you
Oh,
got the
it's
choreographers, you've got the curators, you've got the coaches who are giving their input. They're like, hey, I got an idea for this. And so you've
mhm.
got to translate that into the choreography. I mean, it's a lot going on, a lot of collaborating.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think about it like every little workout is its own production of its own. It's like its own mini movie, like a TV series, if you will. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's there's so much magic that happens behind the scenes where it's like, yeah, it takes definitely a village and some to get each single workout
Wow.
up and live. Yeah, but I think yeah, I love just kind of being able to have you like working on one workout as from start to finish because it's just again like I'm very much intentional with like storytelling and making sure that everything flows. I remember like for boxing with the roller rink series,
Mm-hmm.
like I got to collaborate with Benny on that, and we're just like, we need to switch it up with boxing somehow, some way. We've done it once with the stance changes. What else can we do? And I was like, let's just take the duck bar
Yeah.
and make it vertical,
Yep.
and that's how we got the skates is what we call them, or the
Mm-hmm.
skate bars. Like
Yep.
it's a roller rink, like we want you to feel like you can get
Yep.
those feet moving and going side to side, and that's like we want to make sure that move is highlighted every single time in every single song, so that like you just don't get introduced in the first song and then you'll never see it again.
Right. You don't get to perfect it. You don't get to continue learning how to do it. It's a part of the entire workout. I remember when that workout came out and those bars. Everyone in the community, hold on, we got new things. So again, you're pushing the envelope, and that's so exciting for us when you guys are able to take the time and go, how can we make this different? I know that's not possible every single time. You guys make a ton of workouts, but when you find or get to be part of those special ones where you get to take a little bit of extra time and really think about how to be different, how to be new,
Yeah,
innovative. you know. That roller rink, it was Disco Lux, and it's with
Hmm.
Coach Leanne. Man, those bars. And I've seen them a couple times outside of that workout now, but that was
Hmm.
the first time those bars were introduced.
Yeah,
Smart. Smart.
yeah.
Just like the grapevine.
Again,
Wow.
so fearful. I was like, oh my gosh, like, are people gonna be crashing into their walls? Like, please, like, like, it can either go really well or really bad. Like, but
Right.
please don't hate us.
Please don't hate us, but I don't hate you guys. I mean, anytime you guys put in something new and fun, um, I appreciate it because it just means you're learning and growing still and trying to surprise us and trying to keep us moving in new fun ways. So I'm all about it. All
Always.
about it. Um, I know that you also did another K-pop boxing workout that I really, really love. It came out last year in November because that's my birthday month, so I remember.
Is it? You're a
Yes.
November baby too?
Are you a November baby?
Uh-huh.
We're both Scorpios. There you go.
November 1.
I am November the 11th. 11/11.
The ones are my angel numbers.
Same, dude. Same. Look at
I love
this.
it. I love it. I love to see it.
I have a friend, Julie. She is also 11. She sees it everywhere. And so every time we see it in our life, we send it to each other. Yeah.
I will set attention a little bit. I have been seeing it pop up more recently in the last like couple months. So it's like, I mean, that's my indicator of like this is where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
Like it's
You're
all
doing,
working out.
yeah.
Even if it feels
Same.
crazy, like this is where you're supposed to be. So, and
It's that
I mean,
reassurance.
it's coming up now.
It's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
coming up.
Wow.
Love.
So, this K-pop boxing workout that came out in our birthday month is a medium. It's with Mindy. I love it. It's got La Lisa in it, which is also in that new Pros Only you and Justin put
Mhm.
out with Flo. So it was pretty cool to see it in boxing. It's got great music in it, man. And the movements, dude.
Yeah, with I think with boxing, I think something that I've learned is like I think obviously, like it's always this debate between like do I want people to like come out of a boxing workout in Supernatural? Do I want it to make it feel like they've been fighting for their lives like in an actual boxing match, or is this
Right.
like dance boxing? That's
Yes.
always the golden
Hmm.
like debate, you
Right.
know. But I think all in all, it's just like again the core of it's like we just want to get people moving and whatever
Yeah.
sparks movement. Because again, sometimes I'll be doing boxing and I'm realizing I'm in the completely wrong stance, even
Same.
if it's to a song that I choreographed. I'm like, oops, like maybe that's why that didn't feel so right. But again, like it's just the skeleton of what movement is. So I realized I think my sweet spot with boxing is just like the right amount of like let me give you some actual combos, but also being really intuitive and intentional with like a sort of groove or making it feel like borderline, like you want to dance.
Yes.
So that is like what I realize is my sweet spot, and I think medium boxing brings out the
Yes.
best of that
Hmm.
because it's
Hmm.
enough to give you like a little bit of like a ooh that was kind of like a high moment, but also with enough breath to kind of balance out, you know, yeah, it's comfortable and I want to dance.
Yes. I love that about your boxing workouts. Now, because that's medium boxing is my sweet spot. I can do all the levels. It's just like you said, you have enough room there. There's room to dance, to groove. You get those combos. You feel good about those combos, and then you want to dance a little bit before you go back to boxing. And you give that to us in mediums.
Mm-hmm.
This K-pop workout is a ton of fun, and you can tell that that's your music. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
it brings out the best of your unique choreography style when it's music you like.
Absolutely, and I love that you bring that up because that was something that I got told like when I was training as a new choreographer was like we can really tell like in a map like in the movement like did you really enjoy this or was it like a struggle, and I was
Right.
like I can just in my dance experience like I can tell when people are performing
Yeah.
like do you truly enjoy this like in your face in your body or is this like this is your absolute jam like you're living your best life and just
Yeah.
exuding that energy. So yeah, just knowing that in the back of my mind too, where it's like, it is movement after all. So like if
Hmm.
it's always staying in the back of my mind. Like people will always know. Like they'll
They
they'll
will.
feel it. They'll feel
Hmm.
it.
It has heart. It has soul. You can feel that. You can feel your passion. You can feel when the coaches are super into it, you can feel that too. Those are
Absolutely.
the best workouts. And this brings me to a full circle moment because I have a workout that is like a soul workout for me. It's a workout when I'm having a bad day, when I need to get in touch with myself and remind myself I'm a badass. Like,
Hmm.
and it's a low. And if anyone who knows me, I'm not a low girl. Okay? They're a little boring. They have their place. But
I'll
this
give
low,
that.
they have their place, and this low has its place. I recommend it up and down. I put it in competitions. It is from 2022. It's hard to say. 2022.
Yeah.
It is a power workout, and it's with Leanne. It is called Beauty and the Scars. This is a journey. This is a therapy session of a workout from the music to Leanne and to the choreography. But when I found out that you are responsible for the very last song on this set, Falling Water by Maggie
Hmm.
Rogers, I almost cried. I was like, I got to thank him so many times. It is so beautiful, dude. Like I feel like you put your passion into that particular map. It was so flowy and went with the emotion of the songs. It changed. You forget you're doing a low and you just I get my heart rate up so high, dude. Like higher
Hmm.
than in a high because you allow me the space to do that. Plus
Yeah.
encourage me to move really big.
That that's beautiful. I
It
love
is
that you shared
beautiful.
that with me.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, so with that workout, that was actually one of the very first lows that I worked on in my time as a choreographer. Like I think like when we kind of like to focus on like each, you know, modality and intensity at one time just to really make sure that we're understanding what each, level and modality feels like in its truest form.
Hmm.
So, that was at the time where I think I had just literally finished boxing, like, and just getting squared away with, yeah, it's time to throw you into flow now. Like, I was like, oh no, I love boxing. Like,
It's
please
my
not
comfort
yet.
area. I'm not ready.
Yeah. So obviously, like let's start low. But yeah, again, it was just like, I do remember like playing through that workout and choreographing, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know what quite the expectation is just yet. But I'm gonna do what I think, in my understanding, feels like a low flow. So to be able to see, almost 2 years later now that like that's
I
still
still
really
play it.
impactful, and like
Hmm.
just to know that like I really just at that time I was like, let me just try to put my truest movement and what I feel like is appropriate for this workout, and to see that, like, again, it was just the impact that it made on you. It's absolutely crazy just to know that like I was able to share a little bit of that with you through movement.
Yeah, yeah. Across the country,
Hmm.
and I still play this workout. I love all the other songs. Don't get me wrong. It's the last one. Like it's magic. It's pure magic, and you make me feel like a dancer. You make me feel like a dancer. And I'm not, I mean,
Yes.
I love dancing, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like I never went to classes. This is all me just being a hobby, like I love to move around. I love to dance. Supernatural brought that out in me. But Falling Water is just a journey. And it's a very slow song. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a beautiful, gorgeous song, but you wouldn't think to work out to it. And
Right.
it's a beautiful expression of the human body and emotion, and you translated that really well. So to hear that it's one of your first maps blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Yeah, I definitely had to be like, where was I in this in when I choreographed this in life? Like, where was I?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. just still figuring out like what supernatural means to me and what like not even knowing the reach and just like how again like it I never
And
thought that at that point in my life like this would be where I am 2 years
yeah,
later. Yeah, it's a beautiful experience this place has given me.
it's impactful. What you guys do is so impactful. Um, I'm so glad that you guys can hear from all of us because it's been a long time coming, you know? A
It
long
has.
time coming.
It definitely has. I mean, also at the same time when I first got hired, I was like, why don't I see any of my team like out in the I was like, that's why I was like, let me hop on these promos. I was like,
Yeah,
I'll put on my tap shoes for Benny.
for
I'll
Benny.
I'll meet up with Asia. We'll choreograph
Yeah,
something cute, and then like yeah, like so it's really awesome to be able to get our time in the spotlight now and just kind of show you a little bit more of the magic behind the scenes.
yeah.
I mean, if there's anyone to know about magic, like magic and behind the scenes,
No
I
joke.
totally get it. I totally get it.
You're like, I get it. I mean, I work
We
for
have
one of the most magical companies, two of the most
absolutely
magical companies now. You got
two of the
Disney
most.
and Supernatural. Wow.
Yeah, quite literally feel like I have two Infinity Stones for any of my Marvel fans out there.
Love that.
It
Absolutely
feels
love that.
it feels just so it feels good. Like you know, and both are things that I truly love and am passionate about.
You gotta protect that. It's
Yeah,
rare that many of us get to do something that we absolutely love in life as our job, and make such an impact. You have to protect that at all costs and keep doing what you're doing, protecting your creativity, finding new ways to be inspired, working with other people, collaborating. Because when you guys collaborate, it turns out so fun. Taking two totally different perspectives, two different ways of seeing the world and putting them together
absolutely. Like
is really neat.
again, because I've again like if we're all unicorns on this team, like yeah, why not two unicorns work together? I want to know what kind of magic that
Right?
that will bring out.
No joke. No
Yeah,
joke.
might be too much for for
It might be.
might be. Again, like if one day the flips are gonna come, I'm telling you. But like that's the
We're
power of
waiting for them. We're
unicorn
training.
magic, if you will.
Unicorn magic. I love that. We're training for them, dude. We are
Yeah,
training. We'll be ready, I promise. Some of us. Not all. Well,
right.
some of us will. So, K pop, Disney music, pop music. What would your dream set? If you could make any workout, like you were curating the workout, what music would you put on there?
My gosh, I don't
I
know.
know it's a huge question. It's hard.
It is
I've
huge
tried.
because also, I mean, something about me, like if I want it, I will go get it. So even to get K-pop into the library as many times as it's been now, it's like, yes, that has been the dream, the vision for so long, you know? But I think my dream workout would probably be somewhere in flow. I think it makes the most sense for me as a dancer. I think medium flow specifically, because again, like I think with medium boxing, like it's the right amount of like I think space and structure to be
Yeah.
able to guide you. But I think it's literally just I don't know if it's limited to a genre of music per se, but like I think just continuing to map and choreograph from real life experiences.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, a day at Disneyland would probably be like a
It's a
dream
vibe.
workout.
It would be more like a vibe, like a category, how like they have, you know, um, just dances or power workouts,
Hmm.
and they're powerful chicks and it's
Yeah,
powerful, powerful. You want to do a day at Disneyland. I like that.
yeah, or like an experience.
Yeah.
Like I want. I mean, if we ever get some like I don't know Disneyland environments, like
Hmm.
like I want to be able to transport you to that experience of being at the park or something like that.
Yeah.
Especially because that's literally where I've spent almost my entire adult life now, really. So I
True.
think also just pulling from real life experiences that I've had, and you know being able to share that with the world by this point.
Right? It is the world, dude. It
Yeah,
is the
but like I
world.
think medium flow of just like environments of being like just resemble Disneyland or like the different lands, and like I don't know, like
Hmm.
throwing a little tiki room in there. I know
Yeah.
some it's a small world has been you know touched on before in one of
Yes.
the Disney workouts. It exists. So I'm just like hopefully it's a near it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a possibility. I mean, the future, anything's possible. And like you said, if you want something, you make it happen. And
yeah,
I could see putting that magic out into the universe and working hard the way that you do, making new amazing experiences for us happen over time, you know? I
yeah.
definitely believe that you could do that. If any of us could do that, it would be you because you just exude um, that energy. That's the vibe I
Thank
get from
you,
you. You're
thank
like,
you.
you want it, you're gonna get it. You're gonna do it. You're gonna make it
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah, thank you. It means a lot.
So, do you have your eye on like a guest coach? If you could bring in any sort of guest coach.
Beyonce.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Could you imagine how freaking fun that would be?
Listen, if Beyonce, if
Mm,
if I even know, if I even catch wind of her being in, like, have her having put on a headset and playing Supernatural, I don't even care if it's my workout.
yeah.
But to
Yeah.
know that like something very near and dear to me
Hmm.
has been blessed by Beyonce's presence in some way or some form,
Yeah.
I think I would lose it.
Yeah, I think
But
I would too.
never, let alone, never mind you just her being a guest coach.
Yeah.
And I guess this could also go into dream workout too. If Beyonce was a guest coach and it was a extremely super duper monster to
Extremely super
her
duper monster.
to her entire Act One Renaissance album,
Oh, wow. Wow.
that would probably be a 2 hour workout that
Hmm.
I don't know if I'd ever even make it to the end. But that would be, yeah, Beyonce. That was
Interesting.
also that Renaissance concert was also the first concert that I watched on the floor. So such an ethereal experience. You know, I think maybe about matches up to probably about the number of times I've been to K-pop concerts. Like that one night with Beyonce on the floor was enough to I can live happily now.
I love that. What an experience. Well, a long time. I went to a Beyonce concert many years ago. I will show my age. It's been a long, long time, but
I
I've
just
never been on the
realized
floor. Hmm.
today's her birthday.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
fitting.
literally I don't know. Again, the stars are aligning. The universe is telling me
Yep.
things.
You're doing the
Yeah,
right things. You're
yeah.
where you're supposed to be when
If
that
it's not
kind of
her,
magic.
if it's not her birthday right now, it was definitely sometime soon. But I think today is. Beehive, please don't come for me if I don't know her birthday. But I love and respect her as a performer so much. I adore her. Please don't drag me to the mud.
They won't. They'll see that for sure. For sure. I can see that you absolutely adore her and her creativity and what she brings out into the world. You know? I think all of you creative people share that all in common, can relate in that way.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about back when we talked about your college and you finding dance and getting the job at Disney when your
Mhm.
friends didn't get that job at Disney. Did they ever go back and like reapply and retry and get on the parade with you?
Yeah, one of them did actually a couple years after,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, it was nice full circle moment there.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope one of them, some of them got that position because I can only imagine how many times a lot of performers at Disney have to audition
Hmm.
before they
Yeah,
get the role. You got yours
absolutely.
on the first try. Wow.
I know a couple of people when their Disney stories, like it wasn't the right time. Like they weren't looking for. I mean, if they're gonna cast a bunch of elves in a Christmas parade, they're not gonna look for people that are, you know, 5'9" and over. Just
Right.
we gotta meet some criteria here. So sometimes it's not even about the caliber or the talent. Like it's just honestly like it comes down to like what the operation needs to.
Got
So
it.
yeah, I think I landed. I think for me it was the sweet spot where they needed to fill, they needed to cast certain roles, and they saw me fit for one of them.
And now you've got a job there and they
Yeah,
find roles for you basically. They're like, "Okay, well JR would be perfect for this or that."
yeah.
Yeah. If you had to give any advice to someone out there trying to go after their dreams, trying to live their best life and find the thing that they're passionate about and make that their career, would you have any advice for them?
Oof, man, I was like, I should also be listening to the advice for myself too, whatever I give. But I mean, it's been it's been a really crazy journey for me. With I've had extreme highs and extreme lows throughout it all in my in my professional, or not even professional, but just like in my dance career. But it's been the one thing that's always kind of kept me grounded and yeah, like always motivated. And it's like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and even through like again the peaks and the valleys of it all, like at the core of it, it's like I knew this is what is driving me to do. So I think it took a while, a long while, to finally figure out like, okay, this is where it is. But I think I've also been working so hard to just like protect dance at all costs, where it's like
Yeah.
I'll do what I need to do to make sure that I can still keep dancing for and choreographing and doing this for as long as I can. Where it's like, I think if it if you finally latch on and find what that is for you, keep doing it, protecting it at all costs, like even if it feels crazy, because there'll be the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it took I think a little bit longer for me to figure out what that was, and really be able to like settle in it and accept it. And I was like, yeah, this is it. Like this is beyond anything that I could have ever dreamed for, but I never knew when it was gonna come. For a while, like again, my biggest dream was to be like an Imagineer. Um, Not that it didn't happen, but I did get to experience, being a part of the backstage, behind the scenes magic of Disneyland and bringing something to life with something that I care about. So I think also just believing in like as long as you're grounded in what makes you happy and passionate, like you'll still be able to fulfill your experiences and get those opportunities. It might just look like it's in a different light.
Yeah.
And I think having a lot of those experiences along the way kind of help just maybe trust in that process. And like at the core of it, it's like I finally found something that literally dance, fitness, and music and tech.
Yep.
Like it's I feel like for so long it's like it's like you got to choose one and commit to it. But I've been tossed left and right in different hobbies, and trying to take up new skills and all that kind of stuff. It's like, when is it finally going to come to fruition? And it just so happened that Supernatural came at the perfect time.
It's the unicorn finding the unicorn company.
Hmm.
I mean, it is such a unique set of skills required. And it's very future forward thinking as well.
Hmm.
You know, you get to use dance in this brand new way,
For sure.
which brings me to wonder, what do you think the headset's going to be like? I talked to this with Kat about this. We talked about the new technology Disney has out, the floor panels in the VR
Hmm.
world, and you're moving and all that. Could you imagine trying to choreograph something in the headset with those and make it a whole experience? Right? Like, I'm envisioning, I'm like now seeing an experience at Disney World and how they would use it. But now I'm trying to figure out how to translate that into supernatural because I could totally see it for a Disney workout.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like, the sky is literally the limit.
Yes.
Ideas can come out from anywhere, and like I think understanding that now, I think with Disney for sure, obviously, like we never know what's gonna happen, what new experiences are coming, and then with Supernatural, it's like it's still so new, where it's like we haven't
Yeah.
even, I don't think we even begin to like scratch the surface of what
Yeah. It's
potential
possible.
it's
Yeah. The
possible.
potential, where supernatural will be 2 years, five
and
years
es-
from.
and especially as like as our technology keeps evolving too, with just like the headsets, like I mean, I envision, I don't know how many years it's going to take, but I can just be able to put on a pair of regular glasses, see Supernatural, and then just like have such a light interface, and be able to just comfortably move with, I don't know, like hands free. I don't know. It's just like full body. Like it's, I don't know. The sky is literally
Yeah.
the limit. I could have contact lenses and have Supernatural, or like real life bats. I don't know what it,
Real life bats. I love that.
like I think I'm still in such a place of like wonder and awe, where it's like I don't want to overwhelm myself with the thought of thinking what next, because I mean,
Fair.
again, like we talked about, gotta celebrate the little wins, and this right now is
100%.
a huge win. Just
100%.
being able to sit here and talk about
Right.
choreography in VR. Like not a lot of people, not a lot of dancers get to you know say that. Like,
Right.
I that you are a full time choreographer for the metaverse.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty
that is
crazy.
that is an honor. So
It
I
is.
think, yeah, I definitely try not to overwhelm myself too much about just like what's next, because this is a very nice spot to just kind of like take a load off and just breathe. Like
Yeah.
this is what like you're living in right now, and it's so damn cool.
It really, really is. This is your reality.
Hmm.
And you get to help make reality or virtual reality movement for all of us. That is
Yeah.
so cool. It brings so much joy.
And again, I mean, those flips are going to keep coming up, but I mean, we could be flipping flip modality. I don't know. Anything's possible. Again, if there's someone else in the company that's like, I want to make it happen, we'll try to make it happen.
That's really neat. The collaboration there. You guys
Absolutely.
just go in there and spout out all your ideas and see what you can make happen.
Yeah.
I said joy, and it brings me back to one of my favorite things in Supernatural. And that is what you guys call Easter eggs, and I call joy balls. Do you have a favorite to use that brings you
Absolutely.
joy?
Disco Rainbow. The
Oh,
Disco
yes.
Rainbow. That is probably one of the funnest things to hit too. I think especially like I love, like the more uppity, poppy, disco-y songs. Like, um, one of like the styles of hip hop that I love is like whacking, and very fast arm movements. I also try to incorporate that into as much as possible with Supernatural, but like it's very deeply rooted and also in disco music. So like whenever I get to see a big disco ball coming towards me and then just poof, and then it's so bright it fills up the entire screen, and it also like
Does the rainbow.
it sits in the, I think, the right spot too, where like it fills up the screen, but it's like even if there were supposed to be like targets coming after it, like it doesn't quite obstruct the view, or like it doesn't distract your view away. Like sometimes I'll hit the like a butterfly or a bubble and be like, oh, I'll follow it, and then oops, like I missed three targets.
Right.
But it just kind of hits it and then it stays centered, so you can really just take in the full picture. Um, yeah, and also the little sound that it makes.
Yes. The sound is so
Little
satisfying. Yes. It's actually like like a two-part joy ball if I think about it, because it does, the sparkles and the disco ball happens and then the rainbow in the background. So I like that choice. I
Yeah,
love the disco ball.
I think definitely one of the most surprising ones. Like, ooh, I don't know if that can pack that much fun in that little strike right there.
It's also very satisfying to hit,
Mhm.
especially on beat. Um, and put some attitude in it into those disco
Absolutely.
workouts, and you've already got the attitude. It just goes perfect with it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I think I got to work on the Pride flow, some of the Pride flows that got released a couple months ago, and I cannot tell you. I feel like I threw so many of the
Disco's in
those
there,
disco balls
the
in
little
there,
balls. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I was like, it's Pride. We
Yep.
there's no other
Might as
option.
well. There
It
isn't.
has to be
You
in there.
have to. Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
I can't quite remember what the final versions of those were, but I definitely remember thinking, yeah, it got to be in here for sure.
yeah, there were a ton of them, and they were very well placed. Like the timing of them made a lot of sense in the song. Um, and also in the very last song, I believe the very last song in that this year's Medium Just Dance Pride was a Todrick Hall song. The
Mhm.
nails,
Nails, hair,
hip,
hips,
yeah,
and
yes,
heels.
yes, that song. And when the joy ball comes, it was just you wanted to give it your all. You wanted to give that attitude, that sass. It made a lot of sense. I loved that
Yeah,
workout. That was a lot of fun. I feel like this medium flow is the definition of your sweet spot, what you love to put out in flow,
yeah,
because there's room to dance, there's fun movements. Um, it's like a good tell of your style.
for sure. I think also like again like with like lyric driven choreography too. Like that whole last half of that song was like, walk for me, walk for me. It was like telling
Yes.
you what to do. Again, missed opportunity if you're like, he's literally telling me to fan myself. I gotta get something in there that like feels
Right.
like fanning. So I mean, less for me to think about. If it's already given, where it's like what the move should be, then yes, less for me to think about. Obviously, you just have to do it.
You like honoring those lyrical sections in the maps. I love
Yeah.
that. For me, those are the things that get me excited when I realize are like they say love and you'll do the heart. I
Hmm.
love when you do that too.
That one's a special one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an immense fear of tail work. Like it is extremely daunting. Just like where does it start? Where does it end? Like
Okay.
yeah, like it just again, like Lowry, our tail master, I don't know how he does it. It's so the things that comes out of his brain too, but like specifically, at least like like let me do something cute with the tail. Like I'll always try to provide some sort of visual effect too. So I remember the first couple songs after I got comfortable with mapping and flow, I was like, has that no one tried to draw a heart in this yet? Like it's right there in front of us.
Right.
Like I see it happening because so I was like, yeah, let me just figure out how to draw a heart in this, and then everyone loved it. And yeah, so I think that used to be one of my telltale signs of like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's a rare map. But now, obviously, like I love that again. Like we get to pick and choose like little moves from everyone and be like, I'm
Snippets.
stealing that
Yeah.
from you. Our snippet library.
I could see one day, I know this will happen, a heart joy ball where when you hit it, hearts will come out. And I hope that you'll use that in one of your heart moves.
Oh, for sure.
That's my wish.
I hope so too, because in the meantime, like if anything comes up with the word love, and you just see a bunch of like that's the workaround we got to deal with right now.
Yeah.
If I can't have a joy ball Easter egg with hearts, then I will draw it out for you.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you doing the hard work up there. We love that. So, my dear friend Julia, who used to be a host on the podcast with me, she would always ask our guests what their favorite food was. But I'm going to put a twist on it today. I want to know what your favorite Disney snack is. It's so impossible. I already know. I just put you on the spot. But like,
Actually,
Okay. Come on.
That's that's a very easy question for
All
me.
right.
The cream cheese pretzels
Oh,
from
iconic.
the Coca-Cola corner on Main Street.
Mm.
Must do. I had never known those existed until I got my pass, and my friends were like, "Have you ever tried a cream cheese pretzel?" I said, "No, like I usually don't like really like cream cheese. Like it's I never had that affinity for it, or So I was like, sure, I'll try it. And when I tell you, I bit into it, and I was like, what? I don't think I've ever had like a sweet pretzel either. Like I didn't have
Hmm.
like a lot of Wetzel's pretzel growing up too, so pretzels
It
were
was
just
all new for you.
not in my palate. Not could not explain it, but I was like, what did I just bite into? Because this is the most magical thing beyond a churro for me.
Right. Would
Yeah.
you have a different answer for Disney World as you do for Disneyland?
So actually, I have only been to Disney World twice, and my first time was last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Totally
Um,
different experience.
right, for sure. I mean, I think the first time I was at Disney World, I it was more so focused on like we gotta get on the rides, do
Hmm.
everything that they have exclusive in Florida that's not available to us here. I wouldn't say maybe the snack per se is
Okay.
more like a drink,
Okay. Well, come on with it.
but the avocado margarita from
Hmm.
the Mexico Pavilion at Epcot.
Hmm. Next
I
level, huh?
love avocado. Margaritas can be like, okay, sure, whatever. It'll be there. But I've never had. I was like, I was not. I don't know what I was expecting when I heard avocado margarita. But that was also like one of the very first drinks that I started my drinking around the world journey at Epcot with. So definitely memorable. So yeah, avocado margaritas are definitely the one thing I have to do every single time I will go to Disney World now.
So, what I'm hearing is your favorite dream snack after a hard day of dancing, choreographing, working in the headset would be a cream cheese pretzel and this avocado margarita together.
That sounds like a beautiful and dangerous, equally dangerous combination that I do deserve after a long day
Hmm.
of choreographing, performing, and rehearsing.
Yeah, I feel like it's a well earned snack.
Absolutely.
We should all make
Absolutely.
that happen. Okay, guys, JR needs these two things together.
Make
Let's
that
all
happen.
send it. Yeah, make it happen. Make the
Make that
magic
happen.
happen.
And I will be a happy capper. Then I'll figure out how we can get those heart Easter eggs.
Oh, we're striking a deal. Okay, we're gonna make some magic happen here, guys. Okay, we need to get these two dream snacks together, and then we'll get our heart joy
We'll get our
ball.
heart joy ball.
Got it. Got it. So this might affect your answer to my next question. Then, now that we've had that little chat, if you could change jobs with anyone in Supernatural for a day, you could just go do whatever, like you want to go experiment. It looks cool. You might want to figure out how Chris Milk does what Chris Milk does,
Mm-hmm.
or a coach. Anyone. You could change any job. What job would you want to go do?
Honestly,
Hmm.
I would love to be a coach. I think
Really?
I think in the trajectory of my dance career, and it's led
Hmm.
me into quite literally teaching dance.
Yep.
I think that seems like also like the next. Yeah, if I don't, I think if I wasn't a
Evolution.
choreographer,
Hmm.
I would want to be a coach.
Well, you are a coach when you're
Well,
teaching
yes,
dance.
but I think like the whole
It would translate well in
in
Supernatural.
Supernatural, yeah. Again, this is a very unique experience where it's like,
It is.
yeah, again, where it's like I've also used, you know, being able to show movement and you know, just follow what I'm doing is literally, how I teach dance.
Hmm.
But, the coaches I think have such a very Like you see them literally for maybe about a total of 2 minutes in the
Mm.
workout, but the rest is all voice.
Yep.
It's all the voice, but you literally feel like they're right there with you. And I
Hmm.
can every time I do a workout, like I can imagine like in some way or some form as all the targets are coming towards me. Like, yeah, this is Leanne telling me to like I can see Leanne literally squatting
Yep.
and like I need to match that.
Same.
So I feel
Same.
like a little bit of that challenge and seeing how I can bring that with just voice
Hmm.
because I am a very my friends know me as the loud one, the loud energetic one. So how can I use this to also coach
I
dance and movement
right.
in supernatural? Maybe like that would be a multiverse
A
option, if
hundred
you will.
percent would be, and it would use all the skill sets you already have. Well, now here's a two-part question. Then, would you want to coach your own maps, or would you want to do a collaboration and coach someone else's, or maybe a map you make with someone else?
I
Right?
wonder. I
I know.
wonder. I think it would be very interesting to coach a workout that I would choreograph.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, that's literally, I think, as close as we can get to like a personal, like everything from like the song you picked to the choreography and then to how you're coaching it through voice and like the demonstration and the warm up and the cool down. Like I think that's as close to we can be getting as like how can we get the full package of like you know you if you will.
Right, exactly. You're basic, it's like a one-on-one class. You're teaching us dance in our home in a headset. Um, I think
Yeah.
that
So
would
I
be
think
really cool.
so yeah, I think that's why like anytime like the coaches have like requests like of like oh yeah I really want to do this movement. I'm just like yeah like let me try to figure out how to bring out you through
Yeah.
like movement. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I mean again I could do what's comfortable for me, but how can we work together to really make sure that like we can coach movement that's like we can create movement that's easy for you to coach too.
And them being the ones who are sitting there coaching all of us. I mean, I know Benny told us that they've been in the headset and editor before, played with trying to map, and we all know that's probably very hard and takes more than an afternoon to figure out how to do. But in their mind, I'm sure they want to see some of their ideas brought out in the choreography so that you guys working together in that way is really neat.
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
I'd vote for you for a guest coach spot. I think it would be really rad to see the choreographers put together a workout and coach it together.
For
That's
sure.
my wish. I think that would be absolutely insane. And wow, it would be a really special workout to
That
see
would
all
be
8 of you doing that, you know? That would be really neat.
all 8 of us on one platform. Got it.
It's just, oh man, that would be fantastic. No, I think y'all need two platforms.
At least, yeah. At least.
Maybe.
Or I can jump through some of those portals, those fast feed portals. we can switch out every so often.
Yeah. Come in. Internet. No, I see you would be really rad for you to have a guest role in one workout to yourself. I
That
put
would be
that in the
fun.
universe for you. So, is there anything that you want to leave the community listening in? Any last things you want to tell them?
Hmm.
Um,
Honestly, just
mm-hmm.
thank you guys. Like, thank you all for just being so supportive and just, you know, down for us. And, like, it literally would be nothing without you guys all out there. Like, you give us so much inspiration to keep pushing ourselves to, give the best of us to you guys because that's what you guys absolutely deserve. If you come into Supernatural and expect like your life to be changed and just uplifted and elevated, it doesn't. It's not something that and just anyone can do. So like, thank you guys for just showing so much support and love, even when we know. Like no one knew who the choreographers were. Like I think there's so much pride I take in knowing that um, like our group of team members on the choreography team, like there's something special that's like sought out after. Like I think it gives me so much, at least for me, like so much validation and um, just like what I do is meaningful and impactful, and without you guys, there would be no one to impact if there wasn't this. So just thank you guys for being so loving and supportive, because even from a distance, wherever you are, like we feel the love so immensely, and that's what keeps us going forward.
I love that. That's beautiful sentiment, and I'm glad that you were able to directly say that to the people who are listening because it's important. It's important. It's that positive feedback loop we give to you guys,
Absolutely.
you give to us.
Hmm.
So I have one final question, and it's my favorite question. If you were going to use a hug as an emoji, say I had a really bad day, and I'm like telling you all about it, and you don't want to just hug react because, that'd be rude, right? Like, I
Hmm.
love that you had a bad day. You'd want to give me a hug. What would your emoji be? It's got to be an animal.
It's got to be an animal.
It's got to be an animal.
Let me pull up the the list of
There you go.
frequently used emojis
Exactly.
on my
There's,
messenger real quick.
I have one friend who is allowed to not follow the rules. She uses a pair of pants as her as her hug emoji. But everyone else is an animal. I'm a flamingo.
You know, I'm looking at my frequently used emojis right now. I actually don't use animals a lot.
Never, huh?
I
Same.
use, I'm not an
I didn't
animal
either.
girly. I
I
think
wasn't either.
it's all smileys. But you know what? Looking through, I think honestly, I love using the little. I don't know if this counts as the animal, but like the little evil imp.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. That's I feel like always like people just kind of know me as like a little mischievous and like you know just very. Just,
You're a,
I'm always going to find a way to kid around. Like no matter how serious the situation is. Like I think that's just literally my way of just still trying to show that like I love and care, and you know but I think that literally is me. And just
I love that.
yeah,
That's your hug emoji, huh?
that is my hug emoji. Just which is
I'm
also
into
really
it.
funny though, because I think like I'm also a very like I love giving hugs and all that kind of stuff. So, but it's also really funny because I think that quite literally gives the opposite of it's like
It
like it's
does, and the juxtaposition of it
yeah,
is funny.
yeah,
And we all like, that's part of your personality. You like to joke around, you like to be funny. Especially, I do the same thing, especially in serious situations. So it would make sense to bring that sort of energy to your hug. I like it.
absolutely, yeah.
Very unique.
Thank you.
So I am super excited about your pick for the weekly workout suggestion. I know we talked about it, but I'm excited to hear what the community thinks about it when they play it. You want to tell them what workout it is?
JK pop.
No surprise.
Get in there. Get in there. Pros only. It's our newest and most ambitious creation, I think, on our end. At least for me, too. So it's, again, I think I really tried to follow Justin's lead on this one. Like, okay, like he's really tried to do the one-on-one choreography in the past. Like, you know what? Let's all level up. Let me try to get on that same level with him too. Um, so yeah, I think that was definitely one of my more ambitious maps, and um, well, with the I can't stop me. But yeah, I think that just like I'm interested. Watch the video also too. Watch their performance so you can
Yes.
know what you're getting yourself into. And I think you'll be in for a really nice surprise
Yes, for sure. I think it's important.
because we can get you moving. We can get you moving.
definitely translates. And I'll make sure that I link those videos when I make the post with the workout suggestions so they can see that and easily find it. Any suggestions for people who aren't at pros only level? Like, would you just get in there and have fun and play it anyway and let it be what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like, it's a completely safe space in Supernatural, It's just you and the targets. And luckily we're not at a place yet where virtual reality feels physical. Like like if I get pummeled with a target for hitting it on the wrong
Yeah.
side, like I'm not gonna feel that pain in my head. So
I mean, we're not getting shocks in the neck by that.
right. Might get a little haptic in the hands in the controller. But like it's perfectly safe, and like yeah, just get in there and experience it. And you know, I think the beauty of it too is that like we all got to start somewhere. And I think for me, like just jumping into the deep end, just trying to figure it out, but knowing that like at the end of the day, you are safe, and you can always go back and master it. But yeah, I think just don't be afraid. I think it's there for you if you want to experience it, and it's there for you to experience it forever, basically.
Right?
Yeah,
And when they play this workout, don't forget to rate it after. Very important.
please do.
You can
Oh
even
my
hit
gosh.
other and prompt an email, and you can send in comments. I write in comments all the time, write in like a whole novel of things to say. Make sure you do that, guys. That's the way they get our feedback and they hear what we
Absolutely.
like and don't like, and they take that seriously. So
Hmm.
don't forget to rate it.
Especially if you think it's my workout.
If you think
I
it's JR's.
I feel like I don't know if you ever like watched like America's Dance Crew or like So You Think You Can Dance, but I feel like I'm like the numbers about to appear on the screen. Like call in your votes right now. Please thumbs up,
100%.
like us, leave feedback for us.
Yes. I love that. Well, guys, thanks for coming in, hanging out with JR and I today. I really enjoyed meeting you, chatting with you, bringing you behind and to the front for the community to get to know. You know, we talked about tons of workouts here today. I'll make sure I list those so everyone can find them, start learning your style, and who knows what the future holds for any of us. But I do know that the possibilities are endless for you, man. I see that. Magic is
Thank you, thank
is happening all
you.
around.
It is happening all around,
Yeah.
and yeah, just see you in headset, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of For the Love of the Map. As always, you can join the discussion in the private Facebook group and follow along with show updates on Instagram and TikTok. Links can be found in the description below. If you find value in the show, please share it with your friends. Your comments, likes, and reviews are invaluable, and I cannot thank you guys enough. See you next time.